Council Task Force. This official meeting body reviews and evaluates problems being faced by the youth in our community. They discuss ways to enhance and benefit the city and collaborate on ideas and recommendations to present to the City Commission. The Youth Council will be conducting the first part of our meeting this evening and will be excused before the manager's report. And now the chair, Piper Lyman, will call the meeting to order and proceed.
The regular meeting for the City Commission for Tuesday, May 27, 2025 will come to order. Please join me in silencing your cell phones. City Clerk, please call the roll.
For the Commission, Commissioner Perrine.
Here.
Commissioner McGurk.
Here.
Commissioner Ashley.
Here.
Vice Mayor Martin.
Here.
Mayor Cleveland.
Here.
And for the Youth Council, Member Irwin.
Here.
Member Perkis.
Here.
Member Kavanaugh.
Here.
Member Elkind.
Here.
Vice Chair MacArthur.
Here.
Chair Lyman.
Here.
Thank you.
Police Chaplain Sheila Turner will give the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us bow our heads and hearts unto the Lord. We thank you, Father, for allowing us to be a part of this meeting tonight. And we thank you, and we're so reminded of your word to train up a child in the way they must go. And we thank you that they are here in your presence. Thank you for making the decisions that we need to go forth. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
City Manager, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, ma'am. Just one minor change. I would like to move item 10G to immediately following the consent agenda. That's item 10G concerning New Smyrna Beach Utilities. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to invite Irma Terry, Community Relations and Events Manager, to receive a proclamation recognizing Juneteenth. We'll have the commission join the mayor at the podium.
The City of New Smyrna Beach proclamation recognizing Juneteenth. Whereas on 19 June 1865, federal authorities arrived in Galveston, Texas, to inform African Americans who had been enslaved that the Civil War had ended and they were free. This announcement came more than 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863. Which declared the freedom of all people held in bondage in Confederate states. However, due to the ongoing conflict and inability of Union forces to enforce the proclamation in certain regions, it wasn't until June 19th, 1865, that freedom reached those in Texas. And whereas June 19th, now known as Juneteenth, has been recognized for generations as a day of freedom and reflection, celebrating the resilience, courage, and faith of those that had been oppressed, and recognizing the divine strength and the boundless love that has sustained them throughout their journey toward liberation. And whereas the Emancipation Proclamation, although a monumental step toward ending the institution of slavery, did not immediately free all those in bondage. It was the 13th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, ratified on 6 December 1865, that formally abolished this practice throughout the entire country, forever ensuring legal freedom of African Americans. And whereas Juneteenth is a day of deep significance, honoring the strength, perseverance, and faith of African Americans who had been oppressed, and recognizing how their enduring spirit, sustained by God's love, mercy, and peace, continues to inspire generations, reminding all of us of the importance of justice, equality, and unity. And whereas this day also commemorates the memory of those who endured the horrors of forced labor and those who journeyed from oppression to freedom, leaving behind a legacy of hope, courage, faith, and love, which continues to resonate with all people, regardless of their backgrounds or belief. It serves as a reminder that through God's grace, we are empowered to build a brighter, more compassionate future for all. And whereas the annual celebration of Juneteenth is a joyful occasion, affirming our nation's progress toward greater freedom, unity, and justice, and encouraging us to move forward together in love, peace, and mercy. In 2021, President Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law, establishing Juneteenth as the 11th federal holiday, the first new holiday since the creation of Martin Luther King Day in 1983. Now, therefore, I, Freddie Cleveland, Mayor of the City of New Smyrna Beach, do hereby proclaim June 19th of each year as Juneteenth Day in the City of New Smyrna Beach, and invite all citizens to come together in celebration, reflection, and learning, embracing resilience, contributions, and achievements to those who shaped our nation's history and continue to inspire us a future filled with peace, mercy, and boundless love of God. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand this 27th day of May, 2025. Congratulations. Yes, we have one more. Thank you. Will Mr. Gary Norville join us at the podium, please? Turn around and beyond. Here we go. City of New Smyrna Beach Proclamation recognizing Gary Norville. Whereas the City of New Smyrna Beach Airport stands as a testament to our nation's rich military history, serving as a pivotal component in today's national airspace system and remains a beacon of pride for this community. And whereas American Aero Services, under the leadership of Gary Norville, has been a major and valued tenant at the New Smyrna Beach Airport since 1988, contributing significantly both to the local community and the aviation industry. And whereas Gary Norville has demonstrated unwavering commitment to the preservation and restoration of vintage warbirds, military vehicles, military armor, missiles, rockets, and other historical significant artifacts, ensuring that a legacy for those that have served is never forgotten. And whereas Gary's deep knowledge of military history, particularly as it relates to airports past, has created a bridge between the past and the present, highlighting the importance of the airport's role both in history and in the future of aviation. And whereas Gary and his dedicated team have consistently provided critical support to the airport, especially during emergencies, by offering their expertise, their equipment, and manpower to efficiently remove disabled aircraft from the runway, ensuring safety and continued operation of the airport. And whereas Gary Norville has served on the Airport Advisory Board for 3 years, further demonstrating his commitment to the growth, safety, and success of New Smyrna Beach's airport, and his continuing contribution to New Smyrna Beach Airport goes far beyond business, embodying the spirit of service and dedication of both preservation and aviation history and the community's ongoing success. Now, therefore, we, the City of New Smyrna Beach, do hereby recognize and honor Gary Norville for his outstanding contributions, his tireless commitment to preserving our military heritage, and his integral role in supporting and strengthening the New Smyrna Beach Airport. His work continues to enrich our community and aviation history. We express our deepest gratitude for his service, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of New Smyrna Beach to be affixed this 27th day of May, 2025. Gary, congratulations. Could we have those that are here in support of Gary to stand and be recognized? Look at the crowd. All right. McGurk's so excited he can't stand. Thank you very much. You betcha. Congratulations, Gary.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City staff, and citizens. My name is Piper Lehman, and I serve as the chair for the Youth Council Task Force. We would like to outline a presentation for you this evening. First, I would like to introduce the members of the Youth Council Task Force. Vice Chair Abby MacArthur, members Peyton Elkind, Maya Irwin, Jessica Perkis, Kyla Kavanaugh, and Eden Brumall, who unfortunately was unable to attend tonight's meeting. I'm going to try to operate this clicker. Okay. No? Turned it on.
You turned it on.
Yes.
It's on.
There we go.
Good.
You were the magic touch. Okay, first I would like to outline our Youth Council Task Force mission statement. So first, we like to review and evaluate problems facing youth in the city, facilitate neighborhood meetings with youth to discuss problems, needs, and suggested improvements for our community. Then we meet with city staff and directors to collaborate on our ideas, discuss issues, concerns, and needed improvements to benefit New Smyrna Beach. Then we present recommended improvements with our projects at the City Commission meeting, which we're doing here.
Here's a progress update on the lending libraries. The Youth Council had met with Maintenance Operations Director David Ray, who agreed to construct 3 libraries at Riverside Park, 27th Avenue Park, and the NSV Sports Complex. We also met with Rob Salzar, Leisure Services Director, to set the date of May 21st to paint the libraries with the kids at the Babe James Center. Painting with the kids was such a wonderful experience and truly represented who we are as Youth Council. Seeing their ideas come to life was just surreal. And finally, once the libraries are put into the 3 locations, we will add 20 teen novels and expand on this book-giving tradition.
We would like to propose a new Youth Showcase Festival. The preferred date would be May 16th, 2026, and the main objective would be to showcase the talents the youth of New Smyrna Beach hold, whether it be a business-savvy talent or a more creative-based one, such as painting or a musical talent. And then we would also reach out to established businesses such as the Hub on Canal or the new VCS STEM bus to be there and also have other things for children to do. We also chose the date May 16th because that is the 3rd Saturday of May, which is the day the mayor would hold the Boater Safety Proclamation, and we were hoping to have the festival a little afterwards so we can promote both the festival and the proclamation.
So this was an issue that we proposed and started talking about last year. Youth boater safety, we felt like was a very big issue that's relevant to our community. So this year, to continue addressing this issue, the Youth Council met with the mayor and the Coast Guard Auxiliary to attend the proclamation for Boater Safety Day that was presenting the newly funded Life Vests, which happened on Saturday, May 17th. Our attendance at the proclamation helps to support youth boater safety and bring awareness to it. We plan to host an awareness meeting for boater safety at New Smyrna Beach High School in the following years, and hopefully that can expand into a boater safety class where students are able to get their boater's license.
And now that we have addressed all of our most recent projects from this year, we're next going to talk about some of our old business. So the shark statues were a project that were introduced and by the councils a few years prior. I've been on the council for 3 years now, so this is my 3rd year being able to see the project evolve over time. So I'm happy to announce that we've made some progress on the shark statue project, and we have approved 5 new locations for the shark statues. They're listed on the slide, and we were able to meet with each of the artists to discuss their preferences and find out their motivations and their inspiration behind each of the sharks so that we were best able to choose a location according to that. So at Riverside Park, we have Eliza Midget Shark, Megan Bosma at Municipal Airport, Laura Johnson at the North Causeway Boat Ramp, Katie Smith at the Sports Complex, and Nancy Connors at the golf course. And so we tried to have a good balance between some things that are more aquatic or marine to kind of represent New Smyrna Beach's attachment to the water, but also things that are more based on recreation, because that's also a really big element of youth engagement in the city. So overall, this project is just a great representation of the involvement of local artists and how New Smyrna Beach really thrives with artistic and creative projects like this one.
In conclusion to all of our proposals and updates upon our projects, we would like to thank a few people. We would like to thank our liaison, Mr. Paul Woodard, Sharon Taylor Harding, our city clerk, who was with us at every single meeting, David Ray, maintenance operation director, Rob Salazar, our leisure services director, Shay McCurdy, our city attorney, our artists for our shark statues, Megan Bosma, Nancy Connors, Laura Johnson, Katie Smith, and Liza Midget, our city commissioners, Chris Kirk, our police chief, Walter Franick, our Coast Guard auxiliary person that we've met with, discussing our boating safety proclamation, and Miss Sarah, the the head of Boys and Girls Club of New Smyrna Beach.
This concludes our presentation. We are respectfully requesting approval of the following recommendations. Each recommendation will be presented in an official motion format for City Commission to consider. Is there a motion from the City Commission to approve a local youth showcase festival on Saturday, May 16th, 2026 that would highlight local youth?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McGurk,
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine,
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
The local youth showcase has been approved. Is there a motion to approve a Boaters Awareness meeting for Boater Safety Week?
Move to approve.
Second.
City Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine,
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk,
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley,
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland.
Yes.
Thank you.
The local Boater Awareness meeting has been approved.
I'd like to thank the Youth Council and members of the task force. The members have collaborated with various members of the city staff, which you've heard in their presentation, and external agencies under the guidance of the city clerk. The goals and objectives of your mission statement have been accomplished, and we appreciate the time and dedication of service to the city in this capacity. And those of you that are graduating, we wish you continued success. And those of you who are stepping up to your senior year, we look forward to seeing you back here on the podium. A round of applause for these young citizens. Would the parents of these students please stand and be recognized? Very good. I attended a meeting or two. I'd like the city clerk, Sharon, if you would comment on what your experience was with this group of amazing, creative, talented, inventive folks.
So this was my first year stepping up with the Youth Council. It was during a bit of a transition, and I appreciate you guys' patience with getting the Youth Council started. I was absolutely amazed at they come in with their wisdom that they had. They knew the tasks that they wanted to attack and conquer. They came in very polite, very knowledgeable, very honorable, and it was a wonderful joy to work with them this year, and I'm very excited about next year.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Lastly, and certainly not leastly, Mr. Paul Woodard, teacher Woodard and sponsor of this whole organization from the high school. Congratulations. Take a bow, sir. Youth Council, you're dismissed. Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
Mr. Manager, we're ready for your report, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few things to report back on. We have had a busy couple of months, in particular last couple of weeks, working on our fiscal year 2026 budget. We concluded the first round of meetings with you, the commission, individually over the past week or so. And I just want to extend my appreciation to the finance staff that have been working really, really hard on this budget and introducing a lot of new items and ways of doing things with new city management. So I appreciate all their effort. Did follow up on some comments that we received at the last meeting, comments about the Flagler Cooper intersection and the Ocean Cooper intersection. Staff is looking at those intersections to see what safety features we can add. Also followed up on comments about the safety at 3rd Avenue and Saks, and in particular the need for a left turn arrow at that intersection. And so we've communicated with the state and county about that. There was also questions about resurfacing on State Highway 44, and just following up on that, the state does have a project for about 2.5 miles of resurfacing from just west of I-95 to east of South Walker Drive. So that's resurfacing and some other work, including curbing, drainage, and sidewalk. That project is currently scheduled to begin in August of 2026, so a year and 3 months or so from now. Last week, I had the pleasure on Thursday evening of attending the Volusia League of Cities Annual Awards Banquet, and our very own Assistant Airport Director, Jason Kosat, was honored as a Public Works Employee of the Year. I think he's here tonight. Jason, great job, and certainly well-deserved. He is certainly a rising star in our organization, and we are proud of him. And finally, just to let everybody know, hurricane season unfortunately is upon us, June 1st. Your staff has been diligent in their preparations for hurricane season. We met last Friday in a briefing and updated where we are and making sure that everybody is prepared for what we hope doesn't come. And that is my report, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you so very much, sir. I believe this will be your last report until 8 July. We'll be in recess for the month of June, and we'll see everyone at 8 July, all right?
I know you'll miss me.
You betcha. All right, it's time for public participation, our favorite part of the night. So if you have a comment or a question or a concern, this is, we won't answer questions, but we will graciously receive your comments. If we need to get back to you, the city manager and city clerk will follow up with you. As you come forward, these are issues that pertain to the city. And so you'll be given 3 minutes. The light will come on. The green light means you have 3 minutes. Yellow light means you have 1 minute, and you should be done at the red light. When you come forward, please, for your name and address for the record, please. Anyone for public participation? Ms. Gillespie, good evening.
My name is Sally Gillespie. I live at 610 Little Peninsula.
Sally, pull that microphone right up to your mouth. Raise that right up. There you go.
Do I need to repeat that? Some of you know that I have spent many decades campaigning, advocating for smart growth. Growth that didn't exceed our parameters in our city and didn't conflict with our character. The Deering Park project is why I'm here tonight, because as I listen to those people, I realize they don't know that your hands are tied by the state of Florida's legislature. Let me just give you a little example, and I know you all know this, but some people listening may not know. This is statute 680.06.8, vested rights. This is a little bit of what it says. Changes adverse to the developer's interest cannot be abridged by any governmental agency. That totally ignores our infrastructure, our ability to manage our towns in a meaningful way. And I'm really tired of this. I am tired of city commissions struggling with this. I'm tired of the results that we're getting from the state telling cities and counties what they can and can't do for their cities. Miami Beach and cities in the Panhandle really don't have a lot in common and have different needs. One size does not fit all. There is a solution, and that's why I'm here tonight, because I know all of you, I've been listening to you. I know that you are eloquent, dedicated people, And you need to start talking, and all in this room need to start talking about bringing back home rule. In the 1990s, home rule was instituted by the legislature of Florida, and I'm happy to say my late husband was part of that. Wonderful laws that gave to the states and cities the opportunity to plan and develop as they knew would be compatible with their cities. One by one, over the years, all of those home rule laws have been repealed. We can bring back home rule, but we have to, I was talking to Commissioner McGurk, we have to motivate and energize the League of Cities, 1,000 Friends of Florida, and other groups. And you know, a movement has to start someplace. And it might as well start here tonight. Incidentally, thank you for all you did do to find compromises with Deering Park. And you know, if you had not changed, if you had left it agriculture, I just learned they could have built hundreds of ranchette homes with septic tanks, which incidentally the state legislature also allows. So thank you for the compromises you were able to get. But we shouldn't have to be doing this. We shouldn't have to be compromising. Let's all join and form a committee. Let's get going with bringing back home rule law. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. Evening, ma'am.
My name is Rhonda Spellers, and I live in New Smyrna Beach, and I have lived here a long time. A concern that I have, I don't know if you can do anything about it, but the kids on these electric bikes. I was driving on South Myrtle Avenue. I was going about 30 miles an hour. On the left side, on the bike path, this kid was keeping up with me. So he's driving, he's on an electric bike, 30 miles an hour. He had no helmet. So I started watching him. He didn't stop at any of the stop signs. He didn't slow down at the crosswalk. I watched him as long as I could in my rearview mirror, and I thought, this is very dangerous. What safety protocols are being put in place? I talked to my cousin, granddaughter, was riding on an electric bike. She was going too fast, ran into a car, ended up with a concussion. And I know that there's not a helmet law, I believe, in Florida, but you see a lot of the cyclists with helmets on. I hardly see any of these kids with helmets on. Are they teaching safety in the school? Because in my opinion, I know you can't stop them. Electric bikes are here to stay, but what safety protocols are being addressed or put in place?
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Appreciate that. Anyone else for public participation? Go ahead. What age before Judy? Ouch. Welcome, Dr. Piotrowski.
My name is Dr. James Piotrowski. I live at 518 Venetian Villa Drive in New Smyrna Beach. I live in Venetian Bay, have been for the last 17 years. I'm here and speak affirmatively for the Deering Park project. I wasn't able to do it last week. The demeanor was totally different then than it is today. The first thing I want to say is I want to thank each and every one of you, the commissioners and the mayor. You spent 18 months, if not longer, 2 years perhaps, going through the due diligence of meeting after meeting after meeting, getting the Deering Park project to its potential and its final approval. And I want to personally thank each. I don't know any of you all, just the mayor, but I want to thank you all for doing that. The Deering Park project, to me, as a citizen, I think is going to bring growth, development, industry, jobs to this community in an area of the city that we didn't even know existed. I did not know that where the property is was part of New Smyrna Beach. I thought that was county land. It's not. That's going to bring, when they develop it, it's going to bring things to this community that we didn't have. Industry and homes, that's what we need. That's what people want, at least I would think they would. I also think that the water management progress that they're going to do, or the environmental progress, the Deering family has been very ethical and very moral and very clear about it, that there's not going to be one shovel of dirt turned until that water management issue has been solved or is correct. And I think that speaks volumes to the people we're dealing with. And I don't know if any of you have ever been to their project in Lee County and Collier County, the Babcock Ranch. I have, and it is fabulous. And they manage water better than anybody with hurricanes. I think it's and I think they're going to do the same thing here. And when that project is finished, I think it's going to be the standard for the state of Florida. But again, I want to thank you all for what you did, the hard work and a lot of personal angst that you had to take. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. So you're Beauty. Okay.
I'm the Beast. Jim Dickow, Glenwood Avenue, New Smyrna Beach. A couple of things I've got concerns about is the Brandon Center. All the docks over there have been damaged for years, and this last weekend there was thousands of boats that could have been landing there, having lunch at the restaurants up and down Canal Street. Shops would have been busy from boating traffic. I've been a boater for all my life. I've been a private pilot for 27 years. I've been to different places. I land at my airplane at a place that has the restaurant. If I can get there, I land my boat at the dock if it's available. Go into town, spend money, enjoy life, so on. So I was just wondering, is there plans to get that fixed, and how soon? Part two. I've come off of South Street, off of Route 1. There's a giant pothole that everybody hits when they pull off that road, and they have to slow down to about 5 miles an hour. Meanwhile, cars are screeching brakes up behind it to avoid you because you don't want to take the front end out of your vehicle. Those are really the only two things I have, and I appreciate you giving an award to Gary, because being in aviation, I know what it takes. It's a lot of work, a lot of commitment. You're dealing with people's lives that are flying these airplanes, and very meticulous work. So now, when is this boat? When are the docks fixed?
So we'll get back to you. You'll get notified.
Okay. And also, I think the one that's over by Merck's was damaged this weekend. I don't know if you know it. They had tape up there and stuff. That's another concern. But if you would get back, or at least post something on the site, that'd be awesome.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
All
your
right,
comments.
thank you, guys.
bet. Thank you. Hello, Bob.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mayor, Commission, and staff. My name is Bob Williams, 767 Pine Shores Circle, New Smyrna Beach. On behalf of the hundreds of citizens that have worked directly with the city and Deering Park team over the last 4 years, and on behalf of the thousands of citizens that have supported this initiative indirectly, I want to express our heartfelt gratitude and appreciation for all the hard work you have put into making this critically important project for the future of our city the best it can be. Those who have limited experience being involved in our local government often don't appreciate how the many wonderful aspects of our community came to be. In decades past, it was leaders like you that stepped up, performed the important work, and made personal sacrifices of time and effort so that we have the benefit of the high quality of life we enjoy today. It can also be easy to overlook what has happened in many other Florida communities where failure to take intentional positive actions resulted in many negative consequences. There are many communities that didn't have the courage to properly plan for the future, and now wish they had the opportunities you have made possible here in New Smyrna Beach. Thank you for your commitment and leadership for our community that will benefit the citizens of New Smyrna Beach and the surrounding region for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Evening, Dr. Herman.
Randy Herman, 108 Esther Street. First, I want to thank the mayor, the city staff, and all those that participated in the Memorial Day celebration. As a Vietnam era veteran, I was quite touched by the stories and some of the painful memories that I had. I worked in a receiving hospital for 3 years, receiving people that were injured both physically and psychologically by the war. One of the things that wasn't mentioned, and I think bears note, is the grief that was experienced by many of the men and women that returned for the death not only of their compatriots, but of the civilians and the enemy. Those deaths were impressed and burned into their memories as well, and I think sometimes we don't remember that part too, which is the complexity and this, I think, the tragedy of war. So I appreciate the effort that the mayor and the city put into that, because it really truly was a wonderful occasion. I thank you. Secondly, just a few comments on the Deering Park meeting of last. I was amazingly impressed by the number of young people that did turn out. And it reminded me when I was teaching, I would have a lecture that I thought was perfect, and would often come out of the lecture feeling quite unsettled because of the questions or the comments that would be raised that made me kind of doubt or maybe re-examine what I thought I had said. And I think the thing that I took away from those young people is that they, although many of them had not participated in the many wonderful meetings that led up to the decision making, I believe they have a message that is hard to hear, and that is there is a deep felt fear, particularly from that generation, of the damage we are possibly doing to our earth, no matter what we do. Any kind of development is going to take a toll, no matter how well planned. And I noticed today in the newspaper there was articles on the number of cities in the U.S. that are sinking. This is a real issue, and I hope that what the Deering Park Group does with their stormwater management indeed is exemplary, as the previous person said. But I do urge the city. I don't totally agree with the city manager that you don't need staff. I think you do need specific staff, and I believe there's a widespread support from the citizens to budget a person to really manage this very large and potentially great project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else for public participation? Good evening, Crystal. Thank you, Professor.
Hello again. Hello again. Crystal Saylor, 645 Ball Street. I wanted to say how nice the City of New Smyrna Beach website is. There's a vast amount of information there for someone who's going to take the time to look through it. I've been reading about the city charter. I've been reading about the budget, been looking at all the maps and the development stuff, things like that. Future plans include looking more at all our flood management strategies, and then I also want to look into home rule, although I know that's something outside of what our site is, but the site's really got a lot of good stuff on there. And like I said, it's had something there for me to read and learn more. I think right now what I really want to focus on is some of the current issues that we know need to be taken care of. Mostly what I want to talk about is our traffic issues, especially anyone who attempted to go anywhere over the weekend. So, you know, traffic's already a challenge. It's only going to get to be more of a challenge. State Road 44 is really, really busy. And because of that, many residents go onto County Road 4118 Pioneer Trail. Pioneer Trail's narrow, curvy, deep ditches, things like that. So I know it's a county road, but hopefully we can do something about it. I remember going to the FDOT meeting about the interchange, and they were like, well, the county has to deal with it, but that road impacts all of our residents. I know they just put in a traffic light, an actual real signal at Sugar Mill and Pioneer. Really bad one now is Otter and Pioneer. Okay, if you go to the Home Depot and you're coming out the back way, it's really bad. And then, you know, less than half a block away is Williams coming into there. So that whole little bit right in there is really tough to deal with sometimes. Thanks to the website. There's currently over 1,560 residential units approved with another 358 in the works. There'll be 6,600 units in Deering Park North. That's in Edgewater, and they'll be finished before the ones up here get started or finished. And then you've got all the units in DPIC, South Village, and Ardesia. So as we bring in all these additional residential units, that's just going to be more traffic flow, and that's why I think that if we now really start working on these traffic issues, it'd be great. I know Mr. Storch had promised to help us get with FDOT about working on Mission and 44. So I would love to see a traffic volume study conducted on 44 and, if possible, concurrently on Pioneer, because you can't separate them anymore. They're so connected. So I'm running out of time, but like I said, I've been doing a lot of reading, and I'm going to keep reading and hopefully be able to contribute more again in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Evening, ma'am.
Hello. Last thing before the business. Deborah Shaw. I live on
Go right ahead.
Dora Street, New Smyrna. I was born and raised here. I see we have our new Ace Hardware that was put in at the end of the street. We have $1 million school that's behind there. That is our hurricane shelter. We have a wonderful new paved street that goes there. They also paved our street, which is on Dora Street, but now they've opened up a racetrack. When we have our 7th accident that was fatal on Wayne Avenue and Dora Street, they use our street as a side street, and now they're going from 0 to 60, and they're just flying through there. We have a 4-way stop sign on Pecan and Vineyard that I have called for like 2 months since the storm of Ian. The signs are leaned over on their sides, so people just blow through them. So we have one stop sign. If you're heading southbound and making a left off of Wayne to head south to Ace Hardware, you do not see a stop sign or a speed limit sign because it's facing the opposite way. So we do not have a sign that tells you that it's 25 miles an hour when you head south. It's on the south end. It's tucked away over by a house and a pole, and it's leaned over on its side. So someone took the time and bob wired it so that it will still stand up. But we were wondering, could the residents put in for a speed bump sign to slow the traffic down? We have 25 houses there, kids that come home every day after school, and they have to ride their bikes and they have to run or dare to not be run over by the cars. And this last Saturday, we just had another fatal wreck through there at Wayne Avenue. The car approached, and they need to have a left-hand turning lane instead of it being blinking. They gambled to take and see if something's coming, and they pulled right out in front of another oncoming car, and 3 people were killed in that wreck. So this has been an ongoing thing in that neighborhood. It's really cruel. So hopefully we can put in a speed limit sign or get our signs fixed.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate those comments. Anyone else for public participation? Seeing none, public participation is now closed. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Do any of my colleagues wish to comment on any of the 15 items on the consent agenda? Yes? Oh, yes, ma'am.
I just have a question for 7N.
And I have a question for 7L.
7L. Okay, let's take, we'll go with Commissioner Martin. You want to start with your M question?
Sure. It's just that in the write-up, it says 1700 Canal Street. And I'm wondering if it should say 1700 SR 44, because there is no 1700 Canal Street, but at 1700 SR 44, that's where the Car and Coffee show has been. So I think it's just a typo, but was checking.
Manager says we'll verify it. Very good. Commissioner Perrine, you want 7 Lima, which is the approval of the MOU between City of New Smyrna Beach and the Yacht Club on the installation of the low wake zone signs.
Yes, I pull for clarification about the legal wording in case we don't get the grant.
The agreement impliedly states that the city's using grant funding, so if we didn't get the grant funding, there would be no agreement, but I also think there's value in tightening that language so that if there's a motion made, I think we should explicitly state that.
Great. Maybe, is there anybody else with a question? Maybe I can follow up on that a little bit. So the idea is if they don't if they don't comply with the memorandum of agreement, the city is out no money. And if they do comply with the memorandum of agreement, the city has no money in that. Is that right?
Specifically, we were talking about the grant funding,
Yeah.
and that if we did not get the grant,
Sure.
the city would not be obligated.
Right. So should we get the grant, our commitment is to be the agent for the application. We have no obligation to fund any part of that, right?
Correct.
Okay. And should they not comply with the MOU, we would simply return the money to the find.
Correct.
Okay. Good enough. Anybody else with a comment or question? Anybody like to pull any of the items on the consent agenda? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
And a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley? Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to pull forward item 10G, which is a public hearing. And it is a public hearing to be conducted with the adoption of ordinance number 2825, which, if adopted, would authorize the Utilities Commission, the City of New Smyrna Beach, to issue a $130 million system revenue certificate. Madam City Attorney, if you'll read the ordinance for the second time by title only, please.
Ordinance number 2825, an ordinance approving the issuance by the Utilities Commission, City of New Smyrna Beach, Florida, of utility system improvement revenue bonds in an aggregate principal amount not exceeding $130 million. Providing for conflicting ordinances and providing an effective date. This item's here before us because we have a charter provision that says if the UC is going to enter into obligations exceeding 4 years, the City Commission has to ordain that. In the audience, we have the CEO, Efren Chavez, and he can give you
Perfect.
the details.
Okay, Mr. Chavez is here, the boss at the Utility Commission. Efren, welcome back. We're anxious to hear what you have to say. You've just given us a report that we have before us, and so we're anxious to hear what you have to say, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I don't know if you wanted to pull up. Oh. Okay, just to, apologies for the technical difficulties. So authorizing bond ordinance with, requested for the City of New Smyrna Beach. So here what we have, back in 2020, we issued $65 million in bonds for our first ever set of modernization projects. We successfully spent those funds by the end of fiscal year 2024. So now to continue our next 5 years of infrastructure improvements, we will require another 2025 bond issuance up to $130 million. So this is for our continued reliability and resiliency of our infrastructure for the long-term benefit of our customers and employees. So it includes a number of big ticket items in the 5 years, $125 million of capital. South Causeway subaqueous electric line, transmission loop connecting Airport and Field Street substations, a water treatment plant, pellet softening process, and then various lift station improvements. So our philosophy is always to ensure that we are ahead of long-term improvements that we need to make to our system. We're always in the mode of maintaining what we have and looking down the line of what we do need to continue the reliability and resiliency of our infrastructure. So our focus is delivering customer value while improving the business and the customer experience. One other item that I did not list there is we will be implementing the AMI, Advanced Metering Infrastructure meters, for the electric business within the next year. So that's also part of it. But we're always optimizing our cost structure, capital projects, and then the rates that we have for our customers, balancing these infrastructure improvements with the economic impact to our customers. Okay. So what we are, as far as the approval process, so back in April of this year, our commission did approve the resolution. We had the first hearing on May 13th, which was the same day as the Deering Park. And then we had today's the second reading and the final. So, of course, as we proceed, and I know a number of the commissioners, Lisa Martin and others, regularly attend our commission meetings. We provide regular updates on the bond issuance approval process. And, of course, once we do issue the bonds, we will then provide, of course, regular monthly updates on the spending of those funds. So, but as we progress in the process, we can provide regular updates to the city. Okay. This is our bond issuance team. So we have Gray Robinson is Bond and Disclosure Counsel. We have a number of engineering and finance staff, internal staff. We also have rate consultants of Raftellus, including Summit, which is the electric portion of the rates. But this is the similar team that we used 5 years ago, very successful in what we've done. Once again, our overall goal is really providing reliability and resiliency to our customers, and we conduct regular update meetings on that. So next steps. So really today, I'll pause for a second to see if there's any questions, but I am requesting your approval for this ordinance.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Chavez?
Just a brief comment.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming out and giving the presentation. I think you did a great job with the infrastructure improvements that needed to be done with the first one. And I know you were well behind the 8 ball, and everything that I've seen has been going well. The improvements have been improving, the reliability. I know we get people out there complaining about certain things. We always will. But the point is, those are the things you're taking care of.
Yes.
And I don't know how, I doubt most people know just how far behind the 8 ball that you really were once that new team came in. So thank you, and keep up the good work, and I look forward to hearing from you in the future.
Of course.
Anybody else? Mr. Chavez, just a question or two. You've come before to talk to us about the pellets versus the current water purification, so it's great to see that that's now in your program.
Oh, yes.
Would you comment for a second about the what you may have planned for fluoride that you had to change and then change back because the legislature and the governor have decided what's best for New Smyrna?
I want to say back in January. So there's spirited discussions on both sides of that argument. So what we did was, from an operational standpoint, we focused on, I would have needed to install, because the current fluoride equipment was already at end of life, I would need to spend almost $500,000 to put in new fluoride equipment. But conversely, and in parallel path, discussion with general counsel, in essence, other folks that have, there was that pending legislation around eliminating the fluoridation. So Florida is the second state. I believe Utah was the first one. We are the second state to have, in essence, banned it from any water treatment facilities. So that decision, we I believe that there was some discussion about potentially bringing it back up, installing that, but now with the passage of this recent bill, it pretty much has shut the door on us spending that money for fluoride.
Were any of those figures in your bond request? Is that
No,
part of
they
it?
were not.
Okay.
Yeah, they were not.
That was my real question. Thank you very much. And echoing Commissioner McGurk, the reliability initiatives that your predecessor, Mr. Bunch, started and you have followed on with have lessened the number of outages in town, and the duration of those outages is also shorter. So that you are to be congratulated. Similarly, your preparedness for the hurricane season is upon us. You stepped up as interim during the last hurricane season and really made a difference there. So Ephraim, the city is so proud of what you were able to do in your team. And we appreciate that. I also want to recognize Utility Commissioner Lillian Conrad in the room, making sure that we do this exactly right. And so thank you, ma'am, for your service. Okay, any other questions or comments?
I do want to
Anything
say
back to you? Yes,
thank
sir.
you to the, we're great with the city staff, fire, police, airport. I mean, it's a really good team. And actually, I was at Sean's, at Vandermark's Hurricane Friday meeting, so that was good. So,
awesome. Thank you for your presentation, sir. Appreciate it.
thank you.
The public hearing is now open. Are there any citizens who wish to speak on this topic? Please come forward and you'll be heard for 3 minutes. Seeing none, public participation is now closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 2825?
So moved.
A motion and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley? Yes. Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. The motion carries. And now we'll enter into a quasi-judicial public hearing to review and consider the approval of a special exception to allow a boat and RV facility to operate in the B3 zoning district located at 666 Dora Street. Madam City Attorney, would you refresh for the public and for those listening and for us what those quasi-judicial rules of engagement are, please?
Yes, so this is a quasi-judicial item, just like Deering Park was. Mr. Baker will let you know the criteria that has to be used to analyze the facts. If it meets the criteria and there's no other evidence to the contrary, then you would need to vote to approve. If there's any contrary evidence, then you would have the ability to vote no.
So if let me walk that back a little bit. So if I have some inside information from another source outside this room, am I allowed to consider that?
No.
If I don't want to approve this because I just don't like Mr. Baker, can I approve this?
You want to approve it because you don't like him?
Well, if I didn't like him, I wouldn't approve.
The decision needs to be on the evidence presented here tonight, not personal feelings. It's quasi-judicial. You sit as a neutral judge judging the facts to this application.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. And so a quasi-judicial hearing will be conducted to consider the special exception for zoning B3 in this district for 666 Dora. The quasi-judicial hearing is open. I see Senior Planner Baker in the batter's box. Jake, we're ready for your report.
We have applicant Jennifer Cornelius, 307 Columbus Avenue, New Smyrna Beach. Is also a property owner of NSB Boat and RV Storage LLC, requesting a special exception to allow a boat and RV storage facility in the B3 zoning district at 666 Dora Street. Again, here's the location. That's Wayne Avenue to the north. The parcel is between Dora Street and Pecan Street. Now, I remember last time we kind of went back and forth. We didn't really have anything hammered out exactly what we were trying to accomplish with this. So, yeah, house to the south right there that you see, and we have a house to the north. So this is between two existing residences. There are 3 criteria that are to be considered for all special exceptions. The requested use is listed among the special exceptions in the district for which the application is made. That is correct. The requested use will not impair the character of the surroundings or adjoining districts nor be detrimental to the public health, morals, or welfare. That one, again, it was kind of a question of does it have an impact on the surrounding vicinity? I can't say 100% that it was met reading it straight off the bat, but we have some solutions that we worked out. Adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, sanitation, and/or other necessary services and facilities are or will be available or provided for the proposed use. That is met as well. So B3, any business that opens up is required to have a 3-foot landscape buffer along the side property lines and a 5-foot wide landscape buffer along the front property lines. A special exception requires a fence around boat and RV storage facilities, which would thus require the fence to be inside and landscape buffer on the outside. The fence was permitted along the property lines, which is allowed on parcels in the B3 with houses, which this had, and the survey indicates that being there at that time, and on vacant lots, which this is. So while the fence meets the requirements for a B3 lot that has a house or vacant, it doesn't really meet it for what they were trying to do. So we're kind of working from a situation where there's already a fence in place. And we came up with a solution that we think will work. They kind of came up with this idea here between staff and ourselves where along the side property lines are going to install these the wave slats, which will basically shield down the side so people on the sides cannot see what is going on inside the property. And then on the front, with the landscape buffer, instead of moving the fence in, we're going to put the 5-foot wide landscape buffer along the front. This is required to have, based on the lot size, 7 trees, and the Dora Street side of this does not have a gate, and that's also the side where the residences are. So we're going to beef up the front along Dora Street, so when you're going along it, you're not really going to see into it a whole lot with the vegetation and the trees along the front, and of course the sliding gate is on the Pecan side, where we will buffer with landscaping as close to the gate as we can with the 5-foot buffer. Given the situation with the fence already being in place, we felt that this was a reasonable solution, and we recommend approval with the conditions on the screen there. Plant the 5-foot landscape buffer on each side. There's one question I do have for you, is require the property owner to include the slats either at the 4-foot minimum height or the entire 6-foot height outside the visibility triangle. And I think, honestly, that would probably be the better look, because making it kind of clean at the 4-foot height, I think, would be kind of difficult. And then they still have to meet all the other requirements of site plan approval, including stormwater, and again, noting the number of trees. Do you have any questions for me?
We may. Anybody of my colleagues have a comment or question? Commissioner McGirt.
Thank you, Mayor. Jake, so I'm going down the list. You went a little fast for me. Slow that down. So the fence, you guys have figured out a solution to.
The fence doesn't move. Basically, it would stay there, and we would put the vegetation on the inside of the fence up against it, so it would just be, you'd see a landscape buffer, but you'd be seeing it through the fence. They have
So the landscaping is going to be on the inside?
Correct.
Okay. Is there any landscaping on the outside?
No.
Okay. The 4-foot and 6-foot height, where are we at with that? Did you kind of went a little fast
Well,
on
the
that.
4-foot with these slats, I think kind of cutting it off, making it look nice and clean, 4-foot up a fence, it just doesn't seem very feasible. So I like the idea of 6-foot up, bring it from the top of the fence down, outside the visibility triangle, so the two neighboring people, if they're backing out, can still see. But once you get out of that immediate backing up visibility concern, it's solid going down the side.
Okay, so we're at 6 feet or 4 feet, or 6 feet and then 4 feet in the visibility triangle?
It's the requirement for the fencing is 4-foot solid and 2-foot open, but that's a minimum standard. You as the commission are able to put other criteria on these special exceptions.
Okay. So with the height, it's 4 foot, you can't see through it, and the remaining 2 feet, you have to be able to see through it. Is
No.
that what you're saying?
No, that is the minimum standard, is 4-foot solid, 2 feet open. But if you wanted to make it solid 6 feet up, you can do that.
Okay, what I'm trying to figure out is how, in other words, I'm looking at what you two have agreed upon. And I'm trying to understand where are you guys at with the 6 foot? Because I think something should be 4 feet doesn't cover up anything.
I am in favor of 6 feet.
Okay. So, solid.
Solid once you're outside of that immediate visibility triangle.
Right. Okay, and it's going to be, is the fence going to be just 4 feet, or you're going to add the 2 feet in the visibility triangle that you can see through?
It would be just simply vegetated in that little front area right there.
Okay. So no vegetation on the outside of the fence?
No.
And technically, it should have been?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's all my questions right now.
Should that, Commissioner Martin?
Just the statement that had this business owner, this seasoned business owner asked for a pre-application meeting, we wouldn't be here tonight.
Yes, it was the Utilities Commission, when they heard what they wanted to do with the property, was like, you really should be having a pre-application meeting, which was post-fence already being in place with mechanicals so the gate slides open and everything else. So now I'm kind of trying to work through a situation that's in place.
Any more, Lisa? Any more questions? Okay. Commissioner Perrine.
Yes, I saw a difference in the photos of the solid that the applicant originally submitted. They were black with that covered the fence, and then, yes, and then there's the solid, but then the one you just showed is a little different.
Yeah, this was an initial idea too. I think this was more of a plasticky kind of material, and the fear was it's going to crumble in a relatively short period of time. So the slats that were metal have a much better shelf life, if you will.
And that was my question.
They don't
what
have
was
to be
the
beige,
difference? Yeah.
It could be a different color.
The one you showed can be any color, that one. I see how those slats are going through the, yeah, the chain link. That's the only question I had, the difference between the two.
Commissioner Ashley.
That picture we're looking at right now, is that what the fence height would be? That looks like it's a 6-foot fence.
It looks like to be a 6-foot fence. It's just like an ad, but yeah, basically this fence is already 6 foot down the side, and this is maybe not this color, but that's what it's going to look like.
Okay. The purpose of landscaping inside the fence is what?
Well, initially, the landscaping is supposed to be on the outside, but again, the fence was kind of put in before we got to that point. So, it should have been, you have a little landscape buffer and a fence is set behind it. In this case, I'm dealing with a fence that's already in place.
Yeah.
So on the ends, particularly on the Dora side where people live and drive up and down, you're going to see shrubbery and trees. So it'll be shielded from the street. And then on the Pecan side, the west side of it, you have the railroad tracks across the street. That's going to be landscaped along there with the fence going down, and there'll be no house looking at this from the other side. So it's basically shielded from the 4 sides as much as possible.
So the interior landscaping does the shielding also?
It will on the east side, yes.
Okay. So is that what we're recommending, one side with landscaping on the inside?
It would be on both east and west side. I could go back to the recommendation right there. Plant the 5-foot landscape buffer along the entirety of the east property line, inside the fence, outside the visibility triangle, and then again on the west side, kind of repeated the same thing. Okay. So it will be shielded as much as possible, given the situation we already have on the site.
Okay. No more questions.
Anyone else? Jake, could you walk me through the timeline from the beginning of their contact with the city to how the fence got placed in the wrong spot? Let me finish the question. I want you to listen carefully. To when the demolition permit was put in, what was standing there when the old fence was, when the fence was put in, when the demolition was done, and then when we finally got to an impasse where we have a residential setup for a fence for the commercial property, and how that happened.
They initially applied, and they're here to back this up, or correct me if I'm wrong. They initially applied to take the house down and the palm and the trees on the site.
So the first thing that happened was the house was torn down before anything else happened? Jake, I'm asking you, what's in your record?
Yes, that is correct. Yes,
Is that right?
yes,
So the house got torn down before anything happened?
yes.
Okay. So it would have been clear that something else was going to be put there. And was there intention at that time to do a commercial property or a residential property?
Well, you can't put a residential structure back in the B3 zoning district when it's
Is that
gone.
because it's a non-conforming lot?
It's a non-conforming structure on a
And
B3.
had it been blown down by a hurricane, they could have rebuilt it, right?
Correct.
But having taken it down by themselves for other purposes, you could not.
Yes.
Right? I know that was one of the questions by one of the residents previously. So if it had been blown down by a storm, you could build it back, but because it's non-conforming, if the building was voluntarily taken down, you couldn't rebuild the home. You had to do something else. Okay, got that. How about house comes down first, they put in a permit for a fence.
2 separate permits.
Tell me about all that.
They put in a permit to put it down the sides, and then they also put in a separate permit to put the one on the east and west ends with the sliding gate. So it's 2 separate permits from contractors, pulled the permits.
So no intent to have it, and are the rules for setbacks of where fences go for residential different than from commercial?
The only business type that requires a fence in the B3 zoning district is this special exception. It's the only one that actually requires one. People put in fences on vacant lots, I can't say all the time, but a lot of times people don't want people just trespassing on their property, and they'll put a fence around the property while they're figuring out what they're going to do.
So the intent was to put the fence in for a commercial structure?
Well, that was their intent, yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
And how did the fence not get placed where the fence should have been placed? Is that, and help me out, is there a setback on the side and the front, and are the side setbacks met currently?
The only, you have a landscape buffer requirement of 3 feet and 5 feet.
On the sides as well?
Yes.
Front and back or all around?
No, you have a 3 feet landscape buffer that is required on the sides. So that would be north and south in this situation. And you have a 5-foot landscape buffer on the east and the west ends of this property.
Got it.
There isn't necessarily a fence requirement, but because of this boat and RV storage facility
Sure.
they want to do, that does require a fence, which then necessitates the fence to be placed behind the landscape buffer. Otherwise, in most situations, we really wouldn't have an opportunity to even see your landscaping, which is why we're trying to do our best to come up with a solution.
Right, so the residents would be able to enjoy, that are neighboring would be able to enjoy landscape down the side and then a fence behind the landscape. That's what the intent was.
That is the intent.
How did it not come to pass?
Well, they applied for their fence permit. The permit text, they look at a fence. Yes, you are allowed to do this. And they approved what is technically allowed to go in. Now, they have since added a question, do you intend on changing the use of this property to kind of catch the situation? Because it's very rare where we have situations where these boat and RV storage facilities come in these types of situations. And most people tend to come in and do like a full-on one of our pre-application meetings, which these things are hashed out beforehand. But in this situation, they're trying to work this on their own, and, they came in and they think that they're going about it the right way and trying to do their fence permit. And like I said, Kenny Ho Utilities was like, you guys really need to do a pre-app meeting after the fence was already in place, and it kind of caught all the stuff that is actually required of a special exception. So I can't say this necessarily our building department, in my eyes, could they have asked questions that might have caught this? It's possible, but what they're doing is permitted, because people do put in fences around lots because they want to keep people out or whatever they want to do. It might sit for 5 years and they don't want people putting a tent in there or something and sleeping in the bushes,
So, if I understand you right, a fence application was put in. The fence was put in accordance with residential standards.
Yeah. Well, for commercial standards, too.
Pardon me?
Well, it
Well, wait
wouldn't
a
be
minute.
commercial because you have to be set 3 feet back.
Yes, isn't that the point?
Yes.
That's the entire point, isn't it?
Yeah.
That there is no room to put vegetation in. How did our inspector allow a fence for non-residential for commercial place? How did they sign off on a fence that was set up for residential, knowing that it was commercial?
Because people put in fences around lots all the time, and
I'm not asking what people do. I'm asking you, as a member of the city staff, to tell me how it happened. And you were
can't
here
tell you.
last time, and we had the same go-around, so I'm hoping that you've done some research and you've figured that out.
well, the permit is drawn with the fence on the property line. So our inspector went out and looked at a fence permit that is drawn with the fence on the property line, and that is what he approved. In fact, I asked him that, and he's a man of few words, but he said, I verified what was on the survey. That was approved. So Tom went out and looked at the fence permit as it was drawn up, and that's what he approved.
Got it. No more questions right now. Thank you for, Commissioner McGurk. You want one?
Jake, if there was an existing fence with the residential house on it, and then they removed the house, and then came to the city for this permit for the special use, would you guys require them to take the fence down now that would have been on the property line because it was put up as a residential use? Would they be required to take that down and then move it 3 feet in so the landscaping could be on the outside?
If the old fence was there, yeah, we would have, if we caught it in the pre-application time and let them know in advance, yes, we would have said, this has to be 3 feet in on the sides and 5 feet on the
Okay,
east and
so
west.
just for the sake of argument, the fence had been there 25 years.
Probably was.
It's an old fence under a different use in a residential area. They come in, they want to change the use, put in their, put what they're going to put in the boat storage. And under that, they would then need to move the fence 3 feet in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you, Jake.
Commissioner Martin?
Was the permit for the demolition pulled before or after the permit for the fence?
That was first.
Which was?
First, the house.
The demolition permit was pulled before the fence. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, don't go away, Jake, but thank you, appreciate that. Is the applicant present and wish to speak? Just your name and address for the record, please.
Jen and Clint Cornelius, 307 Columbus Avenue. Something I just wanted to add to that was that our fence permits actually do say on there non-residential. We have copies of them if you'd like to see them, but they do actually say that on there. We had the inspector come down. There was no house on the property. We didn't even go to pull the fence permits till the houses were down. And when we were going to the city, we were asking them, what do we do? This is what we want to do. How do we do this? Told them exactly what we wanted to do. And we just weren't getting pointed in the right direction. We didn't get pointed to zoning or planning. They kept us in the building permit department. So that's kind of how we ended up here.
Hi. Yeah, to echo off Jennifer, we went down to the permitting office multiple times, not just once, to ask for guidance. I am a business owner, an entrepreneur. I've been that my entire life. But this is not what I do every day. So when I go down to the city, I am expecting to be pointed in the right direction. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. And by no means are we trying to work around anything. You know, we've been at this for a year now, you know, not generating any revenue, trying to work through this. Jake is trying as well. To be honest with you, we're out of money here. I mean, we're at budget. And to even do this recommendation is an additional expense for us. It's going to be thousands of dollars. to make this fence right. And I will remind you, on the north and south permit, we actually applied for the vinyl fence initially, which was shot down, and we were directed to do chain link, which is not what I wanted. I wanted the vinyl fence for privacy purposes for the residents. So we've tried to really resolve this every way possible. And I'm hoping you all will take a look at this, see the big picture, and work with us on this. But we're just kind of tapped out here and kind of our final straw. So any questions for us, we're happy to answer them. We did prepare some folders. I don't know if they're necessary. It's just some pictures of the residents and the homes around the yard, and also our fencing if you haven't seen the facility itself. So
Thank you for
Yes.
that. Are there any questions for the applicant? Commissioner Perino. Commissioner Ashley.
Point number 3 is either 4-foot or 6-foot high fence. Would you object to a 6-foot high fence?
It's already 6 foot now, but to do the slats inside at 6 feet, that would be okay.
yeah, it's currently six feet. So.
Commissioner Martin.
To clarify that, I think what we're asking is, would you agree to having the slats pulled up the full 6 feet?
Yeah.
We would actually prefer that if that's the resolution. Yeah, I agree with Jake. It's going to look kind of weird having a 2-foot gap there, and I've never worked with that material, so I don't know how it's going to lie, if it's going to move and shift, and you're going to have one of those. So that's very possible. So I think going all the way up, if that's the resolution, that's the right answer.
Do you have a comment about the interior landscaping? Do you have any comments about that?
We're just trying to get through this. Honestly,
Does it sound crazy to you or no?
I mean, we prefer to put it on the outside and, work with the vegetation that maybe crawls, but we actually brought our fabricator here, Chad. He did the fencing on both our current property, which is 544 Doris Street, which was also permitted the same way, went through the same process, and again, the same street. But he went through the permitting on this property as well as the other property. And we chose Chad because he's an artisan in the metal world. So if you have any questions for him, by all means. But as far as the vegetation goes, I'd prefer it to be on the outside.
And there is 10 feet from the road to the fence, so I'm not really sure, Jake, what the rule is on that, if you can put any out there? Does it have
We actually went back down there today and measured it, and the west is 11 feet, and the east, which there is no egress on the east side, it's a straight fence, which we feel should be fine putting the landscape on the outside. But that's 10 feet, a little over 10 feet.
Thank you. Commissioner McGirt.
Thank you. So I see that you and staff have done a lot of work trying to get to some kind of resolution on this. My concern is the landscaping not being on the outside. That's aesthetically for the neighbors and for the community, so there's a benefit to that. Are there residential homes on both sides of this?
They're both rental properties, I believe.
So I understand that you guys are at budget, everything's difficult. I imagine, obviously, this is right. You don't have a lot of money. What I would love to see you guys do, or one of the concessions, depending on how the vote goes, is within a year of being open, by the end of a year being open, so you have some income, I would at least like to see you reach out to the neighbors on both sides and be willing to give them, donate the plants for them to plant a hedge. It's going to be probably planted on their property, because you're up to the property line. But I would certainly like to see you guys at least reach out to the neighbors on both sides for the betterment of the neighborhood in good faith, once you've got income coming in, and do what you can to help solve this problem in a way that would be beneficial to the neighbors. The 6-foot high fence, that's great, I prefer that, but that doesn't help the aesthetics from the neighborhood value. Thank you, Mayor.
Anybody else?
Could we ask Jake why he is, if that land exists, why the recommendation has been inside rather than outside?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely, we can, in just a second. So, thank you guys for coming, and we don't mean, no, we're not done yet.
Okay.
So, we don't mean to be, we just want to be deliberate, all right? So, I appreciate it, and I can see it in your faces. It seems like we permitted, Mr. Manager, if you'll opine here, it seems like we have permitted a fence not in keeping with our own rules, and they have expended the money to have that happen. Is it appropriate to accomplish the aesthetics we want for the neighbors? Would it be appropriate for the city to absorb the cost of moving those fences back to where they should have been in the first place and been inspected to be there, allowing for the resident or the business owner to plant the vegetation on the outside, irrigate it as required in the instructions, and offer the residents the exact look and feel as our rules had intended? Is that something that we are capable of doing?
Well, I would not recommend that you expend public dollars on private property in this case. I think it's at least debatable what you said about the issuance of the permit. A permit was applied for. The permit that was issued for a fence that did in fact meet the regulations. It didn't meet the regulations for the RV park that they intended to build, but it met the regulations and was permitted. The issue here is there's clearly some sort of disconnect between what they intended to build and what ultimately was permitted, and whether or not the city staff had knowledge that they were going to build an RV park. I think if they knew that they were going to build an RV park, they would have advised them on how to build the project, and that would have come to light if we had had a pre-application meeting, as has been brought up. So I would not recommend that you expend any public dollars on this property.
Okay, thank you, sir. You have any comments about that?
In my previous life, I was an inspector, right? And during that job, I had to ask questions. So if there are different types of fence for different uses, it's obvious that you would have to ask those questions to approve something. And I keep repeating this, but when we went down to the city with the survey, they physically drew a highlighter line on where the fence was to be installed. And that's what Chad has back here as well, and that's where it was installed. So I pushed back a little bit on that, and there needs to be some accountability there.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Let me interrupt you. You have a commercial contractor that puts your fence in?
Yes, sir.
Does he do commercial fences around town and other places?
He's a local firefighter here in NSB, and also is NSB Welding.
I got you. It would be my expectation that he would know the regulations about putting fences in for commercial, for an RV park or a RV and boat storage. That would be my assumption, that he would understand those.
Yeah, I would direct that question to Chad.
I'm just asking you. You hired the guy to come in. He put the fence where it shouldn't be, and he's the knowledge of what should be.
Yeah.
I don't totally agree with that. I think that they.
You don't think he should know what the rules are?
I think that that's why he goes to the city to get the permit.
Pardon
to find
me?
Out. That's why he went to the city to get the permit to find out.
Oh, you must get a city
And
to
that's
get-
why he went and also requested a pre-inspection before he put anything in, so he could make sure he was doing it the right way. Before he even put anything in, he had them come out and do a pre-inspection. And one other comment, if it's okay if I make it, I don't really agree that the fence was approved for commercial. This is a concrete footing fence. This is not a temporary fence. Jake was saying that it would only be considered to be commercial if it was some sort of temporary or just kind of closing in a vacant lot. This was quite obvious that it was not any kind of a temporary fence, that concrete was poured to make it work. There was no way it was going to get moved. It was going to be for a normal commercial use. So
Yeah, I don't have any thought about it, whether it was a temporary fence or not. My expectation was if I hire a contractor, he knows what the rules are about where to put a fence in, for residential versus commercial. My attempt at trying to get the city to have a part to play here comes down to your intent. Your claim is your intent was always to put a boat and RV storage facility there.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. And so even if you didn't know the rules, you would expect your contractor, like a contractor building a home, would know the height requirements on a home and the setback requirements on a home. So similarly, if you have a fence contractor, my expectation is they would know that stuff. That it was inspected and was approved is interesting, but not sufficient for me to understand that if your intent from the beginning was to do an RV storage facility. You have another one there in the neighborhood, right?
Correct.
Are the setbacks appropriate there?
they're the same ones that they are right now.
They're exactly the same.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it was a grandfather, and he put those in at our other lots.
He put those in there as well.
Yeah.
They're actually less than where we're at currently.
Got it. Okay. Thank you very much. I've got no other questions. If you'd like to, go right ahead. Your name and, you're on the microphone, your name and address for the record.
Chad
sir.
Howard, New Smyrna Beach Welding, 4007 Bud Road.
Thank you, Chad.
So
Please go onto the microphone and just speak from there. We'd be happy to hear what you have to say.
when they contacted me, the house was tore down.
The house was what?
Tore down,
Uh-huh.
which means it goes to commercial. You guys all know that. Everybody's beating around the bush on this whole entire thing. I filed for a permit. Right here it says fence, non-residential. File for a permit. I do stuff all over the place. I've done stuff at your house. I've done stuff everywhere. Sent this picture with my stuff to the permitting. Shows the height, the length, everything that's going on that property. It passed. Built the fence. Went there, put it in place, didn't concrete anything. I called, I said, even if we need to pay for an extra permit, I want somebody to come out, inspect, make sure everything is where it needs to be because this is a major ordeal, a $30,000 ordeal to move this fence if it doesn't work out. They came out, guy pulled the tape measure and said, you are 100% legit. So I don't see, you guys are just trying to pass the buck. Here's the paperwork with the yellow parts that the city gave to put the fence on it, highlighted. And it blows my mind that somebody can send this. The house was tore down when I got there. They know it's commercial. They bought it in New Smyrna Boat RV storage. But nobody wants to take the blame that basically the city screwed it up. It's that easy. I mean, I called before it was submitted. The guy came out, obviously there's no home there. There was no home when I applied for the permit. They can't even get it right. He wanted to put vinyl fence down the side. The city says, no, you gotta put chain link. He puts chain link, the city says, no, it's gotta be vinyl. Do you not see this isn't Mims or Oak Hill. You guys are fixing to build all these homes. How can the permitting process not be up to standard?
I appreciate your comments. Anything else?
No.
Thank you. That's all. Thank you both. Any other questions for the applicants? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Baker, come on back up. Help me reconcile this, Jake.
Well, I'll start off, I guess, with the landscaping on the outside of the fence. It would have to bring in irrigation outside the fence on the city property, and it would also bring the vegetation like 6 feet from the street. So our concern was the people being able to back out. Now you're really bringing the vegetation close to the road. So I was, plant this stuff as close as we can to the inside of the fence, so it kind of blends right into the front fence of the wall, and in a relatively short period of time, it fills in the best it can.
That's not really what I'm asking. It may take your boss to do this. What I'm asking is, how did we get here? How in the world did that get inspected as a commercial property, and the permit says commercial, non-residential, and it's not in the right place? And the contractor said, hey, one more time, please come out and verify this is right. If you don't know that, don't guess, but Mr. Corbin may have the direct answer. That's what I'm looking for.
Well, as was stated, they can legally put a fence there. I mean, I know that he's got the sliding gates and everything else that's going on, but for a vacant lot,
Wait a
you can do
minute.
that.
A commercial property can put the gate or can put the fence where it is today.
If it's vacant, yes. If it's vacant, you can. You might have to move it later on down the road, but if it's sitting, they might sit there
Let me be
for
more
10
clear, and I
years as a vacant
don't want
lot.
to be semantically tricky here. If the intent is for a boat RV storage facility, can they put the fence where it is?
No.
That's okay.
But we would have had to have known that information.
Talking to the inspectors, they have no recollection of that happening. The fence permit was pulled by someone that does not say boat and RV storage on the permit. So, I mean, what they looked at was, here's a guy that has a vacant lot, and, it technically can be there. Obviously, it looks now with the sliding gate and everything else, and in retrospect, knowing what they want to do, it doesn't really work for their situation.
Appreciate that. Shane, anything?
Good evening. So obviously we've talked through this multiple times, trying to find a smoking gun of, is there something broken in our system, and have not been able to nail down one definitive, this is where things went wrong. But certainly if they came in and were talking to any of our permit techs and they did not get the direction to go to a pre-application meeting, that's where the mistake would have been. But unfortunately, I can't identify who that person was that talked to him. I don't have any records of it. In addition, the B3 zoning has these standards in it. So I would think also that if someone was going to invest this kind of money in a property like this, they might look at those. But needless to say, if someone did in fact come in and talk to one of our permit techs once or more, and they were not given the proper direction to come up to planning and talk to us about doing a change of use, then that's where the mistake would have been. So in response to this, we have put a line item in our permit now right up at the top that asks for what the proposed use is going to be, and that if you're going to do a commercial project, that you need to talk to planning. So we've put that in there to hopefully any future issues we would catch on the front end.
Thank you. Any other questions for? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, and I do want to go ahead.
Shane, I think I need clarification because the contractor stated that the plans clearly said commercial, but I'm hearing that it's the special exception that kicks in with the boat and storage, which we wouldn't have known that, correct?
That's correct.
So commercial is one thing, but this boat and storage kicks in a special exception, which even requires more. So I'm going to throw out thinking that it's commercial, because that could be a lot of things. It's a boat and storage that triggered this other fence.
The fence, that's correct.
And we did not know that going in. So that is huge to me.
Anyone else for Mr. Corbin? Okay.
I wanted to add
Yes,
one
sir.
little detail while I was watching Jake's presentation on this. I could tell you all are a little confused about where the landscaping was going to go. So on the street sides, along here is where it's being proposed to put the landscaping, and there would not be any slats on that side. Same with the corners up here on the other. So this would be open, you'd be able to see in and see vegetation on both of these sides. But the sides with the homes, the longer sides, would be the ones with the slats. And in the visibility triangle, in these corners, that would be only 4 feet high, and then it would step up to 6 as it goes down the length of the property line and then drop back down in the visibility triangle on the other side. That makes sense. I wasn't sure if you guys
No, that's helpful.
understood
Would they
that.
be required to put the vegetation and irrigation inside on the north and south side?
Yes. And they would still need to do stormwater as well as add some trees to the property.
Any
So
other
that's
questions for
some
Director
other
Corbin?
steps that have to be done.
Gotcha. Thank you, appreciate it. Commission will now hear from members of the public wishing to comment in favor of or opposition to approval of the special exception for the boat and RV storage facility. Is there anybody from the public? Yes, ma'am. To be given 3 minutes, name and address for the record, please.
Hello, I'm Deborah Shaw. I live about 5 houses down on the left-hand side. The home that they just took down in one day, the fence was there prior to the home coming down. The house had an apartment in the back, the house in the front. Ms. Stone was there for 40-some years. I live at the left. I went and asked for a fence, and I was declined to put a chain link fence up. They have a pamphlet in your office that says that it's abolished. They will not allow any more chain link fences, period. It has to be vinyl or stockade. My neighbor to the left of me put a beautiful vinyl fence 3 feet away from my home. I have no access to get down to my home to do any minor repairs. He did it for spite. Him and I had it out because of the neighbor. But back to this project, because I have to hire an attorney to have that taken off my home, because they also messed up on that and allowed them to put that fence. We are on a 0 lot line. I don't know how else to tell you people that. I have an abstract from 1946 that Connor bought them 50 units. And somehow, somewhere, one person allowed for that to all be changed and make it commercial/residential. We have one residential or commercial on that whole block. And that patio restaurant is the reason this whole thing started. Now we all have to live with the law of the land of being /commercial B3. We didn't even know we changed to a B3 till all this happened. So he's in the same predicament. My neighbor to the left, when he bought the 4 lots, instead of fighting and arguing with you guys, he put the 6-foot fence up, the vinyl fence, put the shrubbery outside, made it look nice. We would be fine with them having the fence out there like that if they would make it look nice, put some plants outside, do the setback requirements so that it's not going to flood, vice versa, when we had the storm. Make it look nice for us so that when we want to sell our home, we don't have a boneyard at one end. They're talking about the other block where they have this that's been there for 20-plus years that her father put there. I've resided on that block. I know Tom. So that was a chain link fence that they're talking about. And what are they talking about when they say they're going to put a boat/camp type thing there? Are they going to have what was there like 4 months ago? Here's the permit that they applied for. How could you not know if you were a fence company, you would have to
Just give it to the city clerk, ma'am. Just hand it to the clerk if you want us to have it.
You would be able to see the design and see where you are allowed and not allowed to put the fence. It's not rocket scientists. They are right. They stitched it out in yellow and showed them where they could and couldn't put the fence. They put the fence up, and this fence is a wrought iron fence with stakes on top of it. And it says in your handbook that you can't put barbed wire or any kind of obstruction over the top of the fence.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Appreciate it.
That's what's there.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your comments.
I understand that, but
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, but your time's
You
expired.
guys postponed this meeting the last time, and we've got to help these people figure out what they're going to do. We
Good.
want to be neighbors with them, too.
That's right. We're gonna do our very best.
I think you're going to end up beating this, but I'd like my paper back. You guys can get your own. I had to track through regulations
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, ma'am. Okay. Ma'am.
Ms. Shaw, before you leave, we just need to take a picture of the document you submitted into evidence.
Yeah, you get a chance at the end as the applicant to talk.
Only anything
You get lots of time.
only whatever went to commission.
Anyone else for public participation? Public participation is now closed. Closing comments from Shane or from Jake?
I'll just flip back to the conditions. And then regarding the solid vinyl fence down the side, what was told was you had to have it see-through in that visibility triangle. And it was kind of like, you could do chain link. But, they could have put solid the rest of the way down, but it's that initial area along the front where you'd be backing out that couldn't be solid right there.
So chain link's not allowed, and is that right? It's not allowed?
Chain
Or they-
link is
wait a
not
minute,
allowed.
let me walk it back. The contractor said, I'd like to put a vinyl fence in, and we said, no, you can't, right?
They could put a vinyl fence in, it would just had to be outside of that initial visibility.
Sure, the
triangle.
first part of that would have
Right,
to be
right.
4 feet. I
Yes.
got that. But
Yeah.
they could have put the vinyl fence in, right?
Once you're outside that visibility triangle, they could have put a
And
vinyl
is that
fence.
what the standard is for that neighborhood now? That's what the rule is? No chain links allowed?
It was just a couple of years ago, it was voted to not have chain link fences on residential properties in the front yard. So residentially zoned properties in the front yard. So
In this area today, are chain link fences allowed as it's zoned?
chain link fences are allowed because it is zoned, that B3 is a highway service commercial district. So you can have chain link fences in there.
Okay, gotcha. Anybody else for, anything else from you, Director Corbin? Okay. Okay, colleagues, what do you think? Well, we're going to vote on whether we're going to allow this variance to go through or not. And I want to make sure the applicant gets one more chance. Sir, go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I just wanted to make one final statement because I think there was some confusion on if the permitting was clear. Again, we ran a total of 3 permits, and only one of the 3 does not say NSB boat and RV storage on it. 2 of the 3 say NSB boat and RV storage. That's who's applying for the permit. It's very clear on these documents that everyone should have copies of. I'm happy to hand them over.
We've got them in the packet.
Would you like to see them?
No, we've got them in
you
the
got
packet.
back,
Thank
yeah.
you.
So I just think there was some confusion there, but that's all I had.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
just for the record, this is a special exception use approval. So this means it's a use that may be appropriate if certain conditions are met. So as of right now, what we have is the application, as far as staff presented, does not meet the conditions as laid out in B3. Now, staff has proposed some conditions that may address the issues, but I just wanted to make it clear that this is a use. This is a use, not, it intertwines some building setbacks, but just to be clear.
Okay. I see Commissioner Ashley is a bit confused, and so I want to make everybody perfectly transparent on what we're voting on and what the arguments are.
The whole argument boils down to use?
So what they're asking for is the ability to do boat and storage RV in this B3 district, and it's supposed to meet these conditions. As it's, a plain reading of it, it doesn't meet the conditions. So that's what staff has been up here discussing, is potential ways to create a condition that may address the conditions that haven't been met.
So points 1 through 4 address those conditions. They meet those conditions.
Jake, do you have the slide up where it talks about the criteria you have to apply and what the specific ones for this use? So there's general criteria for special exception use, and then there's specific ones for boat and sales. So if you have that slide handy.
The only specific boat and RV storage facility is the fence being 6 foot tall, bottom 4 feet being solid and top 2 being open. We look at that as a minimum standard. So you could have it solid 6 feet all the way up. And the other 3 criteria were, does this site have utilities available? Is it on a road? Is it allowed in the B3? And then the other one, the middle one was about, does it have a negative kind of impact? The requested use will not impair the character of the surroundings or adjoining district, nor be detrimental to the public health, morals, or welfare. So that was the one what we're trying to basically address with this by having it shielded as much as we possibly can, given the situation we have.
So it's, wait a minute, go ahead, finish up.
So it
Get all
sounds
you
like
need.
with this special situation, with the cooperation of the city and the applicant, they do meet the requirements, it sounds like to me.
We're trying to meet the intent of it, yes.
Commissioner
I was
Martin.
just gonna say, as I remember the reading, the boat and storage is a separate classification within this B3 zoning, correct?
Correct, yeah, each zoning district has different special exceptions that are allowed. B3 lays out, this is allowed as a special exception, however, you have to have this fence around it right here. And then when you read through the B3 zoning, it tells you that you must have this fence, but you also must have a landscape buffer, which would then necessitate the vegetation, the buffer, to be outside. So that's kind of where we're at today.
It's a special exception within this zone. In this one zone that has special requirements for the boat and RV storage.
Correct.
Thank you.
It's actually reduced standards because a lot of other districts would require a 7-foot landscape buffer adjacent to residential. So this is considerably reduced from others.
Thank you. Commissioner McGurk.
Okay, so to reaffirm what was just said, the property does not currently meet the special exception requirement for this due to the fact of where the fence is.
Correct.
And what you have done here, what you guys have negotiated in good faith with the applicants is something to bring to us to say, we've agreed with this, will you guys go for it?
That's the nail on the head right there, Jason.
Okay. But the key legal point that the attorney's making is, right now, it doesn't meet the technical criteria for
Correct.
the approval of the special use.
So the commission has options on what they wish to do up here.
So we have the power to be able to either approve it as is, approve it with the conditions given by staff,
Or deny.
or deny it. Okay, so well, I guess the applicant needs to come up, right? Applicant still comes up, or did he speak?
he's
Okay.
had his piece.
All right, so this is the way I see it. There's a lot of ways to see it, but me trying to narrow this down, the compromise is the best approach. Unfortunately, the only thing that doesn't do is give the best outcome to the neighbors or the neighborhood, with the landscaping being on the outside. Now, so that's my dilemma. My internal dilemma is, because I'm perfectly willing to let the applicant and our staff figure this out. I could go with the recommendations that staff has brought forward. But I will recognize that that's not necessarily the best overall outcome for the neighbors. And that's why I brought up earlier, can we add, if I recall correctly, we can add things to the requirement, right? The commission?
Yes, the special exception use, you can.
So that's why I asked whether or not they would be willing to donate the plants to the neighbors if the neighbors wanted to put it up. It's not perfect. There's no irrigation system required, and the neighbors would have to water it.
Yeah, there's a lot of details that would need to be hammered out in terms of like what satisfies that requirement. Is it size? Is it cost? Is it?
Why would it not be the same as what was required for the outside previously?
I think if I understand Commissioner McGurk right, he's offering for them to pay for plants for the other properties.
If the
right?
neighbor wishes, after a year of operation, the applicant donates to the neighbor the plants that they can have put in.
Oh, I
to
see what
grow
you're
a hedge.
saying. What would be required on their property, they would donate to them if they
Donate
want.
if the neighbor wants. Neighbor may say, it doesn't matter to me. And to me, that's probably the best, at least the best thing I can come up with right now to deal with the, what staff and the applicant have worked out, while also trying to deal with if a neighbor doesn't have to look at an ugly fence that may or may not mildew or just, otherwise, I can see, but clearly there's something, if I hear one side of the argument, it's easy. It was very easy. But, the lesson learned is when you have a project, go to the planning department and say, hey, here's what I want to do. What do I got to do? And I don't, the permit, the name on the permit, the name doesn't necessarily mean anything. I don't, each side made some interesting points. But that's my best stab at this, would be to approve what staff and the applicant have worked out, and add to that another one that says that they will donate plants to the neighbor after a year of operation.
Before we go to Commissioner Cabrini, if we ask the applicant, would you so stipulate that that would be something that you would do? Is that, that's our question to you?
Well, they don't have to agree.
No, you don't have to. I'm just asking. Come up to the microphone and put it on the record.
It would be the same cost as it would be to put the landscaping on your own property.
If you'd like to come up and speak, I'll let you. If you can say, no, I don't want to do it, or yes, I can, but here's a hint. You are going to be required to do it when you put your plan in down the fence line. That was a previous, and irrigated. And now the offering is, would you be willing to do it after a year of operation, down the outside, if the neighbors wanted it, to the same level that you had previously committed to doing it when you put in the application?
And to be clear, the fence stays where it's at?
Absolutely. We wouldn't want to make you do both.
I think we'd agree to it at this point.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. That helps. Commissioner Perrine.
No further questions.
Okay. Any other discussion from my colleagues? I like Commissioner McGurk's compromise position. I appreciate the applicant's flexibility. I also appreciate the frustration of the fabricator, installer, and I am unhappy with the process, and it seems to have been remedied. Mr. Corbin has a remedy for the process, which seems to have been broken. And so I'm satisfied that at least this particular one would not happen again. Mr. Manager, are we on the right path?
I think so. I do have some concern about the landscaping on other properties and how we would administer and enforce that. So I think that will be, I think that will create some difficulty for us in
Sure.
administration. But
Sure.
if it's your desire, we will.
We'll figure it out. Yeah. Once it measured twice, cut once, and so I think we've brought this to some extent on our own. Is there a motion to approve the special exception located at 666 Dora Street?
I would approve make a motion to approve the special exception with the staff's 4 recommendations.
And the stipulation?
I'm going to leave it there because there are concerns about how we could really get that to work. We might make that a separate issue, but there seem to be, oh wait, I will take staff's advice.
And it had the little caveat in there, the 4 or 6 foot, and I think we both agreed 6 foot.
6.
Good point. All right, staff's 4 recommendations, including the 6-foot fence, and I would refer back to the city manager whether we should include the landscape offer to the neighbors.
So that's disallowed, that's not in your motion, correct?
Yeah, I'm just getting verification. I don't want to promise something we can't deliver.
Yeah, if you want to include in the motion to put it on the outside of the fence on the adjoining properties, we will do our very best to make that happen. I do have some concerns about administration of it, but we'll make it work if that's what you want to do.
Okay, so I will make a motion to approve the special application with the 4 staff recommendations, including the 6-foot height of the fence, or the coverage, plus the exercise of stipulation of giving the neighbors the offer of landscape on their property side of the fence.
I second that.
Got a motion and a second for discussion
And that was after a year, right?
after a year's time. Jason. Anything from my colleagues? Okay. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion carries. I appreciate your work. We're going to move on to item 9B and conduct another quasi-judicial hearing on the proposed sidewalk cafe agreement between the General Public House, a restaurant located at 501 Canal Street. The quasi-judicial hearing will be conducted at this time. It is open. We'll first hear from the senior planner, Mr. Mathan.
Yes, sir. So the parcel is located on the north side of Canal Street at the northwest corner of Canal and North Orange Street. The property is zoned to mixed use, and the application is for approval of a sidewalk cafe agreement. The previous restaurant did have a sidewalk cafe agreement that was approved by the City Commission, and that agreement is non-transferable to the next restaurant owner. The applicant is requesting approval of that agreement that would allow as a limited use 13 outdoor seats along a bar top, 4 tables with 2 chairs per table, and 2 portable propane heaters along the sidewalk area next to Canal Street and in front of their business. The bar top would remain after closing hours, but the other items would be removed each night as closing. The sidewalk's about 12 feet in width. The plan as that was required would leave at least 5 foot to allow for pedestrian access. Also, the agreement lists the required criteria and operating standards as part of the agreement, and this agreement can also be terminated with or without cause by the City of New Smyrna Beach. So the applicant has provided the required seating plan. As you can see on this plan, there would be seats at the bar top that's attached to the exterior wall, 4 small tables with 2 chairs per table around an existing palm tree and street light. And during code periods of time, the applicant wishes to use 2 propane heaters. This agreement was modified to allow for the propane heaters and to allow for the bar top to remain during non-business hours. So the applicant has provided site photos of the section of the sidewalk to be used in the proposed cafe. The top photo has the proposed tables in place and seats along the bar top, and the bottom photo gives an appearance that there will be at least the required 5-foot pedestrian access through the cafe. There is a section of the agreement that was modified for this location. It would be item J. Propane heaters was added as an allowable item that would have to be removed when the business is closed, and the attached bar was added that can stay in place when the business is closed. So per section 801.14 of the city's land development regulations, sidewalk cafes may only be approved by the city commission. And this section of the ODR also lists the following minimum criteria that must be met in order for a sidewalk cafe to be approved. Number one, sidewalk cafes shall only be permitted as an accessory use in this mixed-use zoning district. After staff's evaluation, such a property is located in the mixed-use zoning district, so we feel that that criteria has been met. Number two, the sidewalk cafe must be an extension of a restaurant permitted in the district. After staff's evaluation, there is a proposed restaurant at this location, so we felt this criteria has been met. The sidewalk cafe is limited to the sidewalk area directly adjacent to the restaurant frontage. Staff's evaluation, according to the site plan, it was provided with the application. The tables, seating, bar seating, and propane heaters would be directly located to the business frontage. And the proposed 4 tables and chairs be placed on the south side of the building adjacent to the curb, and have the 13 seats located on the south side of the building adjacent to the newly constructed bar top. Staff feels that that criteria has been met. Number 4, no additional parking is required if the outdoor seating area does not exceed 30% of the restaurant floor area. This particular restaurant is located in the Arts Overlay District. Therefore, no additional parking would be required for the 4 additional tables and the 13 bar seats. Staff felt that this criteria has been met. Number 5, the license holder shall provide adequate liability insurance coverage for the sidewalk cafe area, and the license holder shall name the city as an additional assured. After the evaluation, staff has provided a copy of the liability insurance for the sidewalk cafe area, so staff felt that this criteria had also been met. Number 6, the applicant's proposal must also meet the following design criteria in order to establish the sidewalk cafe. A is a minimum clear pedestrian area of 5 feet must be maintained. The staff's evaluation was the sidewalk cafe along Canal Street measures, or the sidewalk along Canal Street measures approximately 12 feet from the building to the edge of the curb, and the applicant is proposing to use 6 to 7 feet wide area for his outdoor seating, so there will be sufficient width to maintain that 5-foot wide pedestrian area with the proposed layout. Staff felt that this criteria had also been met. B, if the seating area is provided adjacent to the curb, adequate safeguards must be provided to protect patrons from vehicles. After the staff's evaluation, the outdoor seating will be placed adjacent to the building and adjacent to the curb. A non-parking striped area, street light, and large palm trees located in the proximity of the tables. Canal Street is also a reduced speed limit of 20 miles per hour, so staff felt that this design criteria had been met. C, the sidewalk cafe must be clearly delineated from the area to remain open for pedestrian traffic. The applicant would need to delineate this area, so the use of potable plants as a barrier system has been used by other sidewalk cafes. Staff would find that the use of potted plants would be acceptable, so we feel that the design criteria could be met. D, umbrellas shall be allowed if they're contained within the sidewalk cafe area. The applicant has proposed umbrellas with this application, so we feel as long as they stay out of the 5-foot pedestrian barrier, that criteria had been met. E, additional signage are limited to 1 additional sign as an outdoor menu board sign and business name or advertising on any umbrellas. The outdoor menu board may be a 2-sided but may not exceed 4 square feet per side. With staff's evaluation, if the applicant should decide to use a menu board, it would be limited to the side restrictions outlined above. This would be a conditional of approval, so we felt that design criteria could be met. F, outdoor lighting, if provided, must be permanently installed in accordance with the city code and must be approved as part of the application. The license holder shall take any necessary precautions, including illumination for protection of the public, with particular emphasis on period from sunrise to sunset. At this time, we had not received any proposal for outdoor lighting, so we felt that design criteria had been met. Also, the following operating standards have also been established for sidewalk cafes. Number 1, all food preparation shall be done inside the restaurant, and the food service shall comply with local and state laws. With the staff's evaluation, the applicant does have a kitchen inside the restaurant, so we felt that operating standard has been met. Number 2, alcoholic beverages shall be served within the license area consistent with any alcohol beverage license in effect for the restaurant. With staff's evaluation, the applicant would be required to add sidewalk cafe area as part of their state of Florida alcohol license. So we felt that operating standard could be met. Number 3, the hours of operation of Sidewalk Cafe cannot exceed the operating hours of the business. After the evaluation, the applicant has not requested any extension of hours of operation for the Sidewalk Cafe, so we feel this operating standard has been met. Tables, chairs, and other furniture shall be brought inside when the Sidewalk Cafe is not in operation. The applicant has proposed mobile tables, chairs, propane heaters, and those items would be removed when the cafe is not in operation. The bar top's attached to the wall and the sidewalk, so the City Commission would have to approve this bar top. This operating standard would be met if it's approved by the City Commission. Number 5, the license area shall be kept clean condition, and the sidewalk area should be periodically cleaned to remove any stains or dirt resulting from the Sidewalk Cafe operation. Staff's evaluation is that the applicant would keep the Sidewalk Cafe cleaned. It's being kept clean at this time, so we felt that operation standard had been met. So with that, the approval of the Sidewalk Cafe would be conditioned upon compliance with the minimum operating standards. Any approval should also include the bar top attached to the outside of the building. The bar top has been installed to the walls of the sidewalk and does offer the customer a different experience than other sidewalk cafes that have been approved in the past. Staff recommends approval of the request to have the Sidewalk Cafe with a mixture of the mobile tables, chairs, propane heaters, and the fixed bar top as a limited activity within the Arts Overlay District, conditioned and in compliance with all the minimum required operating standards. And that is the staff report, subject to any questions the commissioners may have.
Any questions for Mr. Mathan?
I
Mr. Martin?
just have a little concern. When people are actually seated at the bar, if that 5-foot area can be maintained, because it looked in some pictures like when you pull out the chair, that goes into that 5-foot area. And
Right.
one thing we wanted, you refer to pedestrians in the report, and they're a lot more nimble than wheelchairs. And none of us want to have any ADA issues. So the only concern I have, and I love sidewalk cafes, it's that 5-foot clearance that we seem to have difficulty maintaining in many areas.
You're correct. We do have other sidewalk cafes that have issues trying to maintain that 5-foot walkway. 5 feet is actually a standard on a collector road. So you would normally have your 5-foot sidewalks is what we require on main highways and main collector roads. Other than that, normally it's a 4-foot, but we require 5 foot under this agreement. The whole space is about 12 feet. The bar top is 2 feet. The small tables when you use are 2 feet. So there's your 4 feet. Take that away from your 12, that leaves 8. The chairs are on the side of the table, so you shouldn't take any more room of that area. But the chairs coming out from the bar, if you figure if they come out 2 feet, so now that's 4 feet, 4 feet, 2 feet, that's 6 feet, that still leaves 6. So there's a foot of play.
Yeah, and
So if I'm sitting there, I might need that extra few inches more than the 2 feet.
I thought from the numbers in the report that 3-foot area was more than 3 feet. When I thought.
Right. So
It's back a ways in the presentation or in the report.
Yeah, so the bar is at 2 foot wide. So from the wall, it's 2 feet out is the bar top. And then if you have chairs, the more likely they'll come at 2 feet out as well once you have a patron sitting. So that would be 4 feet. The table against the road or where the palm trees are at, those tables are only 2 foot wide, and they're proposing to put a chair on each end of the table.
I got that.
So that would leave 6 foot left
it's
over, and
that-
that gives a foot for them to play with.
It's a really narrow
Yes.
clearance, and hopefully the potted plants and signs won't go into any of that area.
It should not be inside that 5-foot area. If it is, co-compliance would have to be the one notified, and they could cite them and let them know that they're in violation of this agreement. And if they don't maintain the agreement, this body here has the right to remove this sidewalk cafe at will.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from my colleagues?
The applicant is here as well. So
That's good. He'll get his chance. Bob, a couple things. Have they met all of the 6 of your design criteria?
They've met our design criteria.
And how about the operating standards?
We believe they've met the operating standards.
Are there
Have been in operation because there was one for the prior owner. They just didn't know they had to get their own. So
Are there any other sidewalk cafes on Canal?
there are other sidewalk cafes on the
It's
canal.
in
Yes.
keeping with the others?
it's keeping the tradition of having sidewalk cafes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Commission will now hear from members of the public wishing to comment in approval of or in opposition to.
Randy Herman, 108 Ister. It's really a question. With the tables being on the street side, car side, and we've had some pretty horrific incidences around our country of cars crashing. And I just wonder, they mentioned that the restaurant will have liability insurance. Would the city be liable if a car went up onto the sidewalk and hurt the customers of the restaurant? It just came to me as, because most of the tables are closer to the restaurant, not on the actual street.
Appreciate that. Thank you for your comments, sir. Anyone else? The applicant have any comments or a presentation they'd like to make?
Good evening. I'm Phil Grzelski. I'm the owner of the General Public House. We established our operation about a year and 3 months ago. And what was there prior to us being there were 4 picnic tables that extended way into the sidewalk. They were dilapidated. They were not quite customer friendly. And what our intent was to literally beautify that end of the street. We knocked out the windows through a permitting process, put in garage door windows, and then assembled 3 tables, which is the bar top, so to speak, to replace those picnic tables. We are well aware of ADA standards. My mother-in-law was a T4 paraplegic, so we are even further enamored with maintaining ADA standards with everything that we do. The tables and the separation between the bar top and those tables is going to absolutely be monitored by us. If anyone is encroaching in that area, I will guarantee you we will be all over that. And then the bar top itself is one of the beautification projects that I believe just adds some value to an end of the street that actually needed some help and activity down at that end of the street. So with that, I'll leave that to your
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you. Appreciate that, sir. Quasi-judicial hearing is now closed. Is there a motion to approve the Sidewalk Cafe agreement with the General Public House?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I'll second that.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine,
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk,
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley,
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland.
Yes, motion carries. It's approved. Thank you very much.
I just want to make a brief comment. I think that this is a fantastic addition to this side of the street. And good luck with your endeavor. Thank you.
Public hearing will now be conducted for the adoption of the following ordinances with regard to annexation of an 18.18 acre land located on Page Avenue. Madam City Attorney, if you'll read ordinance 22, 25, 23, 25, 20, and 24, 25 for the second time by title only, please.
Ordinance number 2225, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach annexing 18.2 plus or minus acres of property generally located south of Page Avenue, west of Corbin Park Road at the terminus of Wildwood and South Timberlane Drives, providing for redefining boundaries of the city, designating the property within Commission Zone 4, providing for public hearing, providing for required filings, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Ordinance number 2325, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending the comprehensive plan, changing the future land use designation of 18.2 plus or minus acres of property generally located south of Page Avenue, west of Corbin Park Road at the terminus of Wildwood and South Timberlane Drives from Volusia County urban low intensity and low impact urban to city conservation, providing for amendment of the associated comprehensive plan maps to show the area incorporated into the city, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Ordinance number 2425, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach rezoning 18.2 plus or minus acres of property generally located south of Page Avenue, west of Corbin Park Road at the terminus of Wildwood and South Timber Lane drives from Volusia County R3 and R3 1A Urban Single Family Residential Airport Overlay to City CA Conservation Airport Overlay Zoning District, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Senior Planner Bob Mathan, we're ready for your presentation, sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. So the property owners have requested a voluntary annexation, small-scale comprehensive plan amendment, and rezoning from the Volusia County future land use category of low-impact urban and urban low-intensity, and Volusia County zoning designation of R3, urban single-family residential, and R3 with a 1 in parentheses, which is also urban single-family residential, with an A attached for the airport height notification zone, to a requested city future land use category of conservation, and a city zoning designation of conservation, with an A attached for the airport height notification zone. So the site contains approximately 18.18 plus or minus acres. It's located on the south side of Page Avenue, west of Corbin Park Road, and the property was purchased by the city of New Smyrna Beach as part of the Turnbull Creek Watershed Preservation Project. Also, a declaration of restricted covenants has also been recorded. So at the regular scheduled meeting back on April the 7th, 2025, the Planning and Zoning Board voted 6-0 to give a positive recommendation to the City Commission to approve the requested overall annexation application. The Planning Department also recommends the City Commission to approve the requested annexation, small-scale comprehensive plan amending the future land use to city conservation, and a rezoning to city conservation with an A attached for the airport height notification zone. So that's a summary of the staff report. So any questions that the commissioners may have.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate that. Any questions for Mr. Mathan? Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Public hearing is now open. If there are any citizens who wish to speak on this topic, please come forward and you'll be heard. Seeing none, public participation is now closed. We'll vote on these individually. I would entertain a motion. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 2225?
So moved.
A motion
Second?
and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes,
Thank you.
motion carries. Is there a motion to adopt 2325?
So moved.
And a motion
Second?
and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes, 2325 is adopted. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 2425?
So moved.
A motion
Second?
and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
All three motions carried. We'll now enter into a public hearing to be conducted, consider the adoption of the following ordinances for a 17.5 acre land also located on Page Avenue. Madam City Attorney, if you'll read 2525, 2625, and 2725 for the second time by title only, please.
Ordinance number 2525, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach annexing 17.5 plus or minus acres of property generally located south of Page Avenue, west of Corbin Park Road, addressed as 2350 Page Avenue, providing for redefining boundaries of the city, designating the property within Commission Zone 4, providing for public hearing, providing for required filings, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Ordinance number 2625, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending the comprehensive plan, changing the future land use designation of 17.5 plus or minus acres of property generally located south of Page Avenue, west of Corbin Park Road, addressed as 2350 Page Avenue, from Volusia County urban low intensity and low impact urban to city conservation, providing for amendment of the associated comprehensive plan maps to show the area incorporated into the city, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Ordinance number 2725, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach rezoning 17.5 plus or minus acres of property generally located south of Page Avenue, west of Corbin Park Road, addressed as 2350 Page Avenue, from Volusia County R3 and R3 1A Urban Single Family Residential Airport Overlay to City CA Conservation Airport Overlay to Zoning District, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Mr. Mathan, we're anxious for your presentation, sir.
Yes, sir. So the property owners have requested the voluntary annexation, a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment, and a rezoning from Volusia County future land use category of low-impact urban and urban low-intensity, and a Volusia County zoning designation of R3, urban single-family residential, and R3-1, urban single-family residential with an A attached for the airport height notification zone. To a requested city future land use category of conservation and a city zoning designation of conservation with an A attached for that airport height notification zone. The site contains approximately 17 and a half plus or minus acres. It's located on the south side of Page Avenue, west of Corbin Park Road. This property was also purchased by the city of New Smyrna Beach as part of the Turnbull Creek Watershed Preservation Project, and a declaration of restricted covenants have also been recorded. So at its regular scheduled meeting back on April the 7th, 2025, the Planning and Zoning Board voted 6-0 to give a positive recommendation to the City Commission to approve the requested overall annexation application. Staff also recommends City Commission to approve the requested annexation, the small-scale comprehensive plan amendment changing the future land use to a conservation category and rezoning the city conservation with an A attached for the airport height notification zone. And with that, that is a summary of the staff report, so any questions the commissioners may have.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Mathan? Yes, ma'am.
Simply a statement that I am so proud of our city for buying this land and putting it into conservation. I think it's a really good thing.
Well, I think it's you guys that made that happen. It was going to be a residential neighborhood in the county, so you guys decided to buy it, the city bought it, and now it's going to be conservation forever, and it's got a restricted covenant, so nothing ever be built on it.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate your report. Public hearing is now open. Are there any citizens who wish to speak on this topic? Please approach the podium. You'll be heard. Seeing none, public participation is now closed. Again, we will vote on these individually. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 2525?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes. Is there a motion to adopt 2625?
So moved.
And a motion and a second. And a second from
I'm sorry, who was
Commissioner Ashley.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes. Is there a motion to adopt 2725?
So moved.
A motion and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion 2725 has been adopted. We will now consider an ordinance called number 2925. We will conduct a second reading and public hearing for an ordinance which, if adopted at the second reading and public hearing, would rezone approximately 3.25 acres of land from A3, transitional agricultural, to RA, rural agricultural, for the property located at 1016 Dillon Circle. City Attorney, if you'll read it for the second time by title only, please.
Ordinance number 2925, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach rezoning 3.3 plus or minus acres of property generally located on the southwest side of Dillon Circle, north of Bay Drive, addressed as 1016 Dillon Circle, from Volusia County A3A Transitional Agriculture Airport Overlay to City RAA, Rural Agriculture Estate Airport Overlay Zoning District, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Mr. Mathan, your report, sir.
Yes, sir. So we do have two public hearings. This will be the first public hearing for this item. The property owners have requested rezoning for property that is located at 1016 Dillon Circle. The property is generally located on the southwest side of Dillon Circle, north of Bay Drive. The subject property is currently zoned to A3, Transitional Agriculture District. The property is surrounded by other large estate-sized properties. The property was annexed into the city in 2020, and at that time, a previous property owner wanted to keep their zoning of A3 Transitional Agriculture they had in the county, so the city went ahead and used it as a city A3 Transitional Agriculture as part of their overall annexation application. So this slide shows the current zoning map and the proposed zoning map. The map on the left is the existing zoning map, which shows the current zoning of A3. The map on the right side shows the proposed zoning of RA, and as you can see, the map on the right shows that other properties in this neighborhood that have been annexed into the city are zoned RA, Rural Agriculture Estate. This slide shows the existing future land use, and that category is rural. This future land use is compatible with the other neighboring properties, and the application, excuse me, this application is not changing the future land use, so the future land use would remain with the category of rural. So when the planning department receives an application for zoning, staff must review that application for consistency with the city's comprehensive plan and for the land development regulations. So after reviewing the application against the city's comprehensive plan, staff would propose that the application would be consistent with the following. Element number 2, which is future land use, category rural. Element 2, future land use, goal number 2, which is general land use patterns. And under element 2, future land use, goal number 2, objective 1, which is the future land use map. So after reviewing the application against the city's land development regulations, the two zoning districts will have a few different regulations. The current A3 transitional agriculture zoning district requires a minimum of a 1 acre lot size. And the current A3 transitional agriculture district requires a front and rear yard building setback of 40 feet. The proposed RA, Rural Agriculture State Zoning District, requires a minimum 2.5 acre lot size. And the proposed RA, Rural Agriculture State Zoning District, requires a front and rear yard building setback of 45 feet. The minimum lot width, the minimum house floor area, the maximum building height, and the total lot coverage would remain the same. So those would not change. Staff would also review if a change in the zoning would affect adjacent or closely related neighboring properties. The neighboring annex properties are already zoned to RA, Rural Agriculture Estate, so the proposed zoning would be consistent with the neighborhood. And its regular scheduled meeting on May the 5th, the Planning and Zoning Board voted 6-0 to give a positive recommendation to the City Commission to approve the requested change of zoning to RA, Rural Agriculture Estate, to be consistent with the neighboring properties. The Planning Department during the evaluation has determined that the rezoning request would be consistent with the comprehensive plan and the land development regulations. Since the requested zoning would require larger parcels, in theory would reduce overall density. The Planning Department recommends the City Commission approve the requested change of zoning to RA, Rural Agriculture Estate, to be consistent with the neighboring properties. And that'd be a summary of the staff report, subject to any questions that the commissioners may have. Also, the applicant's representative here for any questions as well.
Any questions by my colleagues for Mr. Mathan? Public hearing is now open. If there are any citizens who wish to speak on this topic, please come forward. You'll be heard. Magistrate Gao.
Good evening, everyone. For the record, Jessica Gao, Cobb Cole Law Firm, 1 Daytona Boulevard, Daytona Beach, Florida. First, someone left a phone in the audience, so I will pass it over to the clerk after this if they want to collect it. The staff report really goes over it very well. This is really a down zoning from 1 acres to 2.5 acres. The property owner would like to purchase 1 acre from the property to the north and combine it with his lot. In order to do that, there were 2 options. We could have tried to rezone that 1 acre. But that would have been a more intense zoning that maybe would have allowed more lots to be formed. And so instead we are rezoning our applicant's property to require that 2.5 acres. He has over 3. After the split, the remaining parcel to the north will have just about 2.6 acres. And the applicant's property will be about 4 acres, and that will have to go through a lot split and combination process. And I'm here for any questions.
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. Any others from with public participation with an opinion that'd like to be heard? Seeing none, public participation is now closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 2925?
So move.
A motion
I second it.
and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
There is some confusion about whether this is a first reading or whether this is an ordinance to be adopted tonight.
So this is a first reading. It's mistakenly said it's a first reading public hearing, but it's fine if you guys vote on it. It's fine. It does no harm.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, on to ordinances and first readings. Madam City Attorney, if you'll read ordinance 3025, 3125, 3225, 3325, 3425, and 3525 for the first time by title only, please.
Ordinance number 3025, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach granting a non-exclusive franchise to MLJ Drywall, Inc. to provide construction and demolition debris removal services within the City of New Smyrna Beach, outlining franchisees' duties, providing terms and conditions under which such franchise shall operate, providing for severability, providing for conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be July 8th, 2025. Ordinance number 3125, an ordinance amending the City of New Smyrna Beach Code of Ordinances, amending Chapter 52, Comprehensive Impact Fee Ordinance, Sections 5220 and 5221 to adopt the City of New Smyrna Beach 2025 Impact Fee Study related to road impact fees and impose the revised rates, providing for codification, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be July 8th, 2025. Ordinance number 3225. An ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach annexing 0.4 acres of property generally located on the west side of North Gulf Lake Drive, south of Mayport Avenue, addressed as 1198 North Gulf Lake Drive, providing for redefining boundaries of the city, designating the property within Commission Zone 3, providing for public hearing, providing for required filings, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be July 22nd, 2025. Ordinance number 3325, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending the comprehensive plan, changing the future land use designation of 0.4 plus or minus acres of property generally located on the west side of North Gulf Lake Drive, south of Mayport Avenue, addressed as 1198 North Gulf Lake Drive, from Volusia County Rural to City Rural, providing for amendment of the associated comprehensive plan maps to show the area incorporated into the city, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be July 22nd, 2025. Ordinance number 3425, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach rezoning 0.4 plus or minus acres of property generally located on the west side of North Gulf Lake Drive, south of Mayport Avenue, addresses 1198 North Gulf Lake Drive, from Volusia County A3A Transitional Agriculture Airport Overlay to City A3A Transitional Agriculture Airport Overlay Zoning District, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be July 22nd, 2025. Ordinance number 3525, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach granting a non-exclusive franchise to Lightning Dumpster LLC to provide construction and demolition debris removal services within the City of New Smyrna Beach, outlining franchisees' duties, providing terms and conditions under which such franchise shall operate, providing for severability, and providing for conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be July 8th, 2025.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. We'll look forward to the second readings on those. Madam City Clerk, we're going to move on to boards and commissions, and I believe you have a report for us.
Yes, before you today, we have a board appointment for the Housing Authority. Housing Authority is under the leadership of Teresa Pope. They currently have 5 members that sit on their board. Their board meets every second Tuesday of the month. Ms. Rosemary Walker has resigned from the Housing Authority after serving 4 terms with the board. So before you today, for the mayor's appointment, we have applications to fulfill Rosemary Walker's seat that she vacated.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. I'd like to nominate Nelson McDonald and have that affirmed by the commission. So I nominate Nelson, and I don't believe it needs a second, but we'll have a confirmation. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Vice Mayor Martin?
No.
Commissioner Perine?
No.
Commissioner McGurk?
Did I miss something?
We wanted to nominate
Yeah, we have
There's 5 applicants.
It's the mayor's
It's the
nomination.
mayor's.
Yes, this board
It's
is.
it's the mayor's nomination. So
Yes.
I'm just going to keep on following, but you can feel free to vote like you want. If 2 noes, continue.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes, thank you. The motion carries. Okay, and now on to the reappointment.
Yes, the Personnel Board. The Personnel Board was established under the City of New Smyrna Beach Personnel Policy. Right now, we have 5 members on the roster. All 5 members have only served 1 term, and they're up for reappointment. Clerk's office has reached out to contact every member, and they would all like to be reappointed at this time.
Motion to reappoint all 5 board members.
Could I ask a question?
Sure. Let's second it for discussion.
Okay, second for discussion.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. How often does this board meet? I mean, we're talking about boards and commissions.
Before I got on the commission, my wife was on it.
Uh-huh.
And I think she met 1 time in 3 years.
Yeah, well, I understand that seems to be the pattern. So I get a little confused about why we have it.
Well, let me give you a little history then. So the board meets very infrequently. They did meet, I believe it was in January, the last time they met, and that was in anticipation of a personnel matter that they were going to hear, but that matter was subsequently withdrawn, and they didn't meet further. So the board only meets when they have a city employee that has appealed a decision of their, well, ultimately, the appeal is of the city manager, and they give an advisory recommendation back to the city manager on whether to uphold the action that was taken against the employee. And that's usually going to be some sort of termination offense. So the fact that the board meets infrequently, I think, is a very, very good thing and a good sign for our organization that we have a healthy organization that doesn't have a whole lot of personnel policies going to the personnel board. But we do need the board in order to have due process for our employees when they may feel aggrieved by a decision made about their employment.
So it's needed, therefore
Yes,
we
ma'am.
should go on.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? I got one. I know Commissioner Perrine's a personal goal of yours to try to square this process away, and so we anxiously await your completion of your work for the efficacy of the boards, maybe the process re-engineering or whatever. So as not to be exposed by not having a board that we've supposed to have, I think we continue along, get this one in, and then hear your report whenever it's time.
Can I comment on that?
Sure.
So, a while back, Kevin, Mr. Cowper asked us what we would like to see, and I gave him a list of things I would like to see with changes. So he has that, and it's like objectives for each board. Which boards can we put in sunset, and actual description from a report like we have had with some of them. Give us a report, and I know some we can't do that with. Like we have some very important boards, but there's some that really need to have objectives submitted to us, I believe. And are they meeting their objectives more than what we're getting at the present time? I know we had some emails about this one, why do we need it, but I don't personally have any problems. And my apologies for that last no vote. I had told somebody that I was going to nominate them, not realizing it was a mayor's thing. So my apologies to that.
No problem at all. All right, so we have a motion and a second to reappoint this board. Any other discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Ashley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Merton?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes, okay. Congratulations to those who have been reappointed. Thank you for stepping up for your city and continuing to serve. We're on to Mayor and Commissioners' comments. Vice Mayor.
Okay. I actually had a great couple of weeks, had a fabulous tour of the Orlando wetlands, and learned about the man-made wetland designed to provide advanced treatment for reclaimed water. Ends up flowing to the St. Johns River cleaner than the water that's already in the St. Johns. And it's in a beautiful park-like setting, and it's well used by people for passive recreation. Then, as always, enjoyed the Razzle Dazzle fashion show. I was again honored to present an award from the Rotary Club to the two most improved students at Coronado Beach Elementary. And just to mention that as the daughter, wife, and mother of Army veterans, I very much appreciated the Memorial Day service at Brandon Center, and it was the best rendition of Taps I've ever heard.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Commissioner McGurk.
Efren brought up the fluoride issue, and all I'm going to say is this. I can't believe our governor took fluoride out of the water. It astounds me at this day and age with all the debunked myths. However, I know everyone has their opinion, but I thought I'd simply just share mine. Memorial Day was fantastic. You know, where we've come and staff has done an amazing job. Mayor's input as being a veteran has added to that. It's such a great event, both Memorial Day and Veterans Day, that I always enjoyed it, but I particularly enjoy it now with the speakers that get brought in telling stories about personal experiences. And during Veterans Day, our Memorial Day, the rendition of Taps always chokes me up. It's very special and emotional. League banquet, great job by staff. I think we pulled off an amazing banquet, and that only means that the league will want to have it here more often, which I'm all for. Anytime we don't have to travel. So great job with staff. I heard, it was Karen Allen. I'll make sure. Karen stopped me before I left to tell me what an amazing job she thought that our staff did from the Brandon Center. So and that wasn't just to tell me, that was, she works with a lot of different people, a lot of different facilities. And she wanted me to make sure that I let people know that we did an outstanding job. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Commissioner Breen.
I have three things. Same sentiments on Memorial Day. It's fabulous. I feel sorry for Commissioner McGurk. He had to watch me cry through the whole thing. The speakers were fabulous, the taps, the music. Hats off to staff and our mayor and everyone else that coordinated that. Two, same, I heard a lot of positive remarks about the League of Cities at the Brandon Center. And both of those events made us proud that we're such a good city. And we might battle up here, but I tell you what, we've got a lot of wins too between all of us. And then my last thing is a follow-up that from our legal stance. In my last commission report, I had brought up and we voted to find out about the signs in the chambers. And I believe our attorney has some answers for us.
Sure. Do you all want to finish commission comments and then I'll go, or you want me to jump in here?
Dealer's choice. You want to talk about now? It'll be in her report.
Either way, whatever's. It's just on my list and my comments since I brought it up for
We'll take it in your report, ma'am.
Okay.
Anything else, Valerie? No?
Thank you.
Commissioner Ashley.
I do agree with the Memorial Day service. That was one of the most moving events I've ever been to. And It was certainly a pleasure to be there. And I want to comment about the task force tonight. I can't believe there aren't any boys on that task force. More power to those young ladies. I wish I had a chance in my youth to do something like that. But great.
Wonderful. So the youth task force is alive and well and going gangbusters. Years ago, they'd make one proposal a year, and through Sharon's leadership, we got 3 or 4 tonight, and they had 10 when they started. So thank you for your stewardship with them and encouraging the youth to step up and do their part. I couldn't be more proud of them. And they'll get some things accomplished, so it's really, really good to see. Police presence this past weekend, Memorial Day weekend, was impressive in all areas of concern. And normally, we have challenges in our major arteries. They were officers present and moving traffic, making sure that things went so very smoothly. To Chief Kirk and the team, congratulations. The Volusia County League of Cities dinner was no accident. Sharon and the entire team inside the organization went to work early to work with Karen Allen, who directs that, and make sure it was seamless and well done. The selection of Flagler Tavern as the caterer was, I think, superb. They did an amazing job. The ability for us to host an outside and inside evening is rare for Volusia League of Cities, and a special treat for all the people that come to those. Richard England and the Razzle Dazzle event is an annual treat to watch our youth who only who get an opportunity that was not available years ago. Years ago, if you had sports aptitude or musical aptitude, those were your 2 after-school programs. Razzle Dazzle has opened that aperture wide, and we get to see art being created by our youth. So, amazing, amazing contribution. The Jazz Festival is coming up. It's 30th of May through the weekend, led by Mr. Music in our town, Mr. Mark Monison. And so if you've never taken advantage of that, it is something very special. There are jazz musicians similar to the Sanford Jazz Ensemble, and including them, that you will have an opportunity to hear all over town. So please turn out for that. The Memorial Day service is getting better every time. Hats off to certainly the speakers that gave their time, but also the staff who really have pulled together, and I see a sense of pride in the staff for their city. So Director Salazar at the top for sure for Leisure Services, Jonah Powers managing that facility with amazing care. The fire chief had Old Glory out there on the fire truck, which was an inspiration to all, and Mark Monison arranged our vocalist and the jazz ensemble. And then a resident, Pam Eisen, arranged the Army, disabled Army veteran, Timothy Washington, to come out and play his keyboard. And a relatively shy man, and so that added a whole different dimension. So I couldn't have been more pleased and proud. So we will take a recess and be back in this room soon. We will not meet in June. 4th of July will be a holiday for the city. We'll be back in this room on the 8th at the regular time, back in this room on the 10th for a budget workshop at 9 a.m. Back on this in this room on July 22nd for a special meeting for the setting the proposed millage. So please tune in, and also CRA that evening at 6:15, and the second commission meeting for the month of July at 6:30 on the 22nd. Madam City Clerk, any further report?
None at this time, thank you.
Madam City Attorney?
Yes, I have two items. One, apologies for the city attorney's report on the legislative update. That was a dated report that was republished. We've talked in depth about quite a few of these bills, but just three more I wanted to mention. Senate Bill 582 authorizes municipalities to impose an enhanced fine for the unauthorized demolition of a structure listed on the National Register or something designated as a local landmark. The fines imposed may not exceed an amount that is 20% of the property appraiser's evaluation of the fair market value. As of right now, our cap would be $5,000 under code compliance. So just of note, we talked about the utility relocation previously. Synthetic turf, House Bill 683 prohibits local governments from regulating synthetic turf installed in single-family residential areas. 1 acre or less, the DEP will come up with standards as to what type of materials that can be used and, looking at stormwater management, permeability, material type, et cetera. And then the last one that I wanted to mention is Senate Bill 954, which addresses the regulation of certified recovery residences. So this is going to be in our multifamily zoning districts. Previously, if somebody came in and claimed a disability under ADA and wanting to live as a family, there was a back and forth that went on with accommodations in order to make that fit the zoning district. This Senate bill is going to require us to adopt an ordinance that front loads those accommodations that would be made. So that's it on that. And then following up on Commissioner Perrine's, there was a direction last meeting regarding looking at whether we could regulate signs in the chambers. We've looked at that. We can prohibit signs in the chamber. Places do it differently. I think the issue we've had here was I think somebody was struck by a sign. It blocks visibility for other speakers. It's disruptive, et cetera. So we can come up with a content neutral restriction that prohibits signs, or if you guys wanted to look at, maybe just regulating sign size. The only downside to that, well, not the only downside, but the downside to that would be enforcement. Having somebody with a tape measure and making sure it complies with signs. So if you're going to go that route, I would suggest doing the prohibition within this chambers. Doesn't stop them from protesting outside or, using signs wherever, but that's my recommendation.
Maybe we can ponder that during their recess and take that up at the backside in July. Mr. Manager, your report, sir.
Nothing further, sir. Thank you.
Very good. I wanted to comment. We've all received a financial briefing from the manager and Director Jury, perhaps the finest in the 2.5 years I've been here, and I look forward to getting into the details as we go down the road, but the start of this is looking exceptional. So thank you very much for all that work, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, any by the ways? Without objection, we're adjourned.